People are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
What the hell is going on, everyone? Sorry for the little bit of delay there, and sorry that this entire thing is delayed. And as you can see, I'm just in these last seconds trying to finish up what I need to do. But I think we are good to go. It is good to be back. It has been way too long, actually. Now my mouse isn't working, but that's fine. So some of you guys know I've been away the last about a week. Only just got back. So I've been traveling for about 13 hours of traveling today between car, plane, waiting in airports, more cars, etc. It's been a long day, but we're here. We're ready to do it. And I've been craving it. I need it. I need it. Before we get into any more, let's cover these. Taras gifted 10 memberships, and Taras, this is for you, my friend. I'm gonna get my bottle opening spoon here. Let's get some love in the chat for Taras. He also gifted me this bintang. So thank you very much, brother. I said I would open that on stream for you. Zach Beach has also gifted 10. Zach, legendary as always. Thank you very much, bro. Dan Garden, also known as Coda, also known as the Carbonara King, celebrating 9 months, says, shout out to this family. Thank you very much, mate. Always appreciate you. Carlos, celebrating 7 months, says, thanks for all you do, Josh. You really are killing it lately. Thought I'd check in for my 7th bonus membership month. I was gifted this morning. Thank you, bro. 7 months. Wow. It's going quick. And I really do appreciate that. Jack Howe, 6 months, says, this week has been so damn depressing. Let's hope the vampire ball truly is coming to an end. Love you all. It's been a week. It really has been a week, hasn't it? And, you know, in a way, I was wondering, so I was in Java. Okay. So Java is like the main island of Indonesia. And I went there to go look at some like megalithic sites and stuff like that. And where I ended up staying was, look, I don't recommend Java. That's all I'll say. Some people might like it, not for me. And where the accommodation wasn't great, it was kind of like a glorified prison. If I'm being completely honest, and I'm not even exaggerating, it was like being in prison. My room didn't have windows. So I'm sitting in my prison cell, ruminating over the fact that satanic pedophiles run our world, and obviously that doesn't feel good. And so, you know, done a lot of processing over these few days, thinking about it. And in a way, I was kind of like, you know what, maybe it's a good thing that I'm here and not streaming, because I feel like while I'm in the process of digesting this, I might say something that I might regret. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes we say things in the heat of the moment, especially me, because I just say what I think without a filter. And that can get you in trouble sometimes. So I thought, you know what, maybe this is a good thing that I'm in prison for a little while. Confiscate my laptop off me, and I'm not allowed to talk just yet. And I got to calm down. So I'm feeling good now. I'm feeling better. And I think we're going to have fun today. Bleak, celebrating 9 months, says 9 months. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you as always. Kelsey, celebrating 3, says weirdo gang, weirdo gang. Yvonne with 3 months as well, says love being a weirdo, and Rambro has gifted a membership. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you. It's lovely to see you all. Let's get some love in the chat. Today's stream, what we're going to be doing is it's basically a catch up. Like I said, I've been away for about a week. We're going to kind of go over some of the things that we've seen earlier in the week, that, you know, things that have probably been talked about already, but I just want to touch on them with you guys as well. Some newer stuff. And also we're going to start with a couple of things that I actually found in the Epstein files that I haven't seen anyone else talk about yet. And look, there's only a couple, and they're not like groundbreaking or anything, but I just thought they were interesting and weird enough to share. So we'll jump into those, and then it's just going to be kind of like scrolling through like we did last time, just looking at all the strangeness. There is a couple of non-Epstein related things in there as well that I thought would be interesting to touch on. And also just to kind of like cleanse the palate, you know. That's probably not the best term to use right now, but you know what I'm saying, just to break it up a little bit. Also, you can see just here, 20% off at the moment on the Polarity store. That is for Valentine's Day. If you have a special little freak in your life, you can spoil them with 20% off right now. So the link is below for the Polarity store. That's on all hats, tank tops, t-shirts, and hoodies. 20% off until Valentine's Day. There you go. I love you, little freaks. Sailor Boy Troy says, all here, stay weird. My man, thank you very much, bro. All right, let's do this. And we're not starting off with the Epstein files. We're actually starting off with John McAfee. Again, we touched on him last stream, I think, and another video of his popped up. And I'm really interested in this because he demonstrates neuro-linguistic programming, basically how people can suggestively plant what they want you to think in your mind without you really noticing it. And he does a live demonstration, and this fucked me up because it worked. It straight up worked on me, and I was like, whoa. So I want to see if it works on you guys too. Let's hit play on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, John McAfee here. Arthur Clarke, the great science fiction writer of the 50s, was the first to say that any sufficiently advanced technology would be viewed as magic
We do know that.
by those that did not understand the technology. The mainstream media has been using a technology called neuro-linguistic programming for more than 15 years. And that neuro-linguistic programming makes you think and believe things.
He talks so weird.
Which aren't.
He talks like the Joker. He's literally like the Joker before the Joker was a thing. Like what year did like the Joker come out? It was after this. I feel like it might have been based on him, but he was this is one of the good guys.
Not true. Now, you've been deceived for years by the mainstream media into believing all kinds of things.
That laugh, bro. That
Iraq
laugh.
had nuclear weapons during the Second Gulf War. No, we found out they did not. That the COVID-19 virus is decimating the world. No, it is not.
It's not?
How do they do this? Again, a thing called neuro-linguistic programming. Do you want to know what that is?
Yes, I do. And Susie says, cool tricolor goatee. He literally has the Neapolitan ice cream on his chin.
Can I demonstrate it for you? Okay. I'm going to put 5 cards right now.
Here you go. Watch
on
up.
the screen. I want you to pick one instantly. Now, pick one, stay with it, think about it. Gone.
Okay. Have you all got your card? Actually, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
I'm going to shuffle these cards and put them back. I'm going to take one, put them back, shuffle them, and put them back on the screen. The card that you picked is not there. Yes, it's not there. Why? Because you have seen the magic of neuro-linguistic programming. Wake the fuck.
Yep. See? The Jack of Spades. The Jack of Spades. None of the cards were the same, though. That's not what he's saying. He's saying the one you picked isn't there. I was right with my first guess. Damn it, it works. Neapolitan ice cream. Can we get that back up? What a chin, by the way. What a chin. I chose King of Diamonds. I changed last minute. So did I. So when I watched this, I had a few in my mind, and then I realized what was going on, and I tried to change, and then I felt like I fell for it. That's what fucked me up. Jennifer Folsom says, weirdos will rock the world. I love that. It is good to be back. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Sailor Boy Troy says, Mac is still alive. Real life Morpheus, not dead. Dude, I would love to think that. But I don't know if that is the case. But yeah. What a guy. What an absolute guy. All right, we've got a lot of tabs to get through here, but I just thought that would be a fun way to start the show. Let's start off with something that I found. Okay, so I found this digging through the Epstein files. So this is a guy named Andre Serrano. Now, I don't know if anyone knows who he is already in the chat. If you do, feel free to tell people, but I'll give you guys a little rundown on what we can see here. So this is an email from Jeffrey to Andre Serrano, okay? And, let's go back to the start. It seems like what's happening here is Jeffrey is asking Andre Serrano for a piece of artwork for his house, okay? And look, let's just read it. Let's just read it from here. This is Andre Serrano. Dear Jeffrey, thank you for a most enjoyable time and the house tour. I'm thinking about your monumental staircase and something of mine that would make sense and look spectacular. I'm sending you 6 signature pieces. These are Serrano classics, all bodily fluids. 2 of these, Semen and Blood and the Piss Picture, were used by Metallica as album covers for Load and Reload because Metallica admired them so much. I suggest we pick 3 of the following images and make a unique installation on the 3 walls, filling each wall completely. Not only will they look amazing, you'll have something worthy of a museum. All the best, Andre. So this guy, I'll show you guys. This is Andre Serrano here. He is an American photographer and artist, and his work, often considered transgressive art, includes photos of corpses and uses feces and bodily fluids. His Piss Christ is an amber-tinged photograph of a crucifix submerged in a glass container of what was purported to be the artist's own piss. So that's Andre. Seems like a cool guy. Seems like he's got a bit of creative flair about him. Real normal-looking guy as well. And this is actually the Metallica album artwork that you can see here. So what this is actually meant to be is literally piss, blood, and semen mixed together because that's his thing. That's what he does. And in this email, he's basically going back and forth with Jeffrey, and they're talking about getting some artwork for his house. And he's kind of saying, look, I'm obviously a piss, blood, and semen artist. I've got plenty that you could pick from. And Jeffrey goes, I'm thinking a piece should be done for the space and not try to fit something in. He wants his own piss, blood, and semen artwork. He doesn't want someone else's. He wants an original because he's just got a real taste for the artwork. He wants an original. And then he says sorry for all the typos, which are prevalent through all of the Epstein files, by the way. But there you go. This is just something that I found that I thought I hadn't seen anyone else talk about yet. But there you go. He wants piss, blood, semen artwork in his house because why not? What normal guy doesn't? Now, this next one that I'm going to show you, I don't really have any context for this, and there's not really much else to say other than just read it out because it's just fucking weird and funny that it's in there. But I found an email that is from someone called Yana Castro, and it doesn't actually say who it's to, but this came in the Epstein leak, and all it says, I never thought I'd say this on a live stream, by the way, but all it says is nude, tanned, dick-riding twink, use condom. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else that I could find, but that's what it says. So there you go. That's in the Epstein files. There's a link there as well. I'm not gonna type it in and see what's on it. But if someone wants to, there you go. Let us know. Let us know what's in there. Trad says that was me. Yeah. Short but sweet. I know. I didn't really have much to add, but I thought it was funny enough to just read out. Why? Because why not? All right, let's get into some videos and some clips now. And I thought we'd start with this one. Jordan posted this really cool clip the other day. We've got a couple from him today. And also, I actually want to cover one of his longer form videos probably in a couple of days because I thought it was really good and really relevant. And it's certainly leading. I've noticed with everything that's coming out, I'm sort of developing a line of thinking with what's going on here. And it's kind of extreme, but it's nice to see. I can tell Jordan is sort of thinking along the same lines. So that's comforting that other people are kind of seeing it the same way that I'm seeing it. But this is what Lawrence Fishburne says. This is recent, I believe.
So do you believe in aliens now after all of this research?
I think they walk among us. And I think that that some of you know. I think we're all familiar with some of them. I think they're right here with us, and we just don't know who they are.
I think it could be the people who are eating babies and drinking blood. And, you know, I know that's crazy, but just sort of using like logical deduction theories, eating babies and drinking blood is a very non-human thing to do. Like, I don't think many of us really wake up feeling the desire to do that. And I know it sounds crazy, but like, you know I always go back to this, but like Juliette Bryant, Epstein survivor, said she literally watched Epstein do some kind of transformation. We've seen, like, David Icke has talked about controlling Archon reptilian forces, controlling our world. Other whistleblowers, which we're going to look at in this stream, have spoken about, you know, like the Draco reptilians feeding on humanity. Tom DeLonge has spoken about the others who are here alongside us and they feed on our negative energy. Like, I feel like a lot of people have kind of been saying very similar things, and it all seems to be pointing at this for me. So, like, what am I saying? Am I saying Jeffrey Epstein is a reptilian? No, not necessarily. But I think there's something weird going on there. Weird going on there. And I do want to explore this idea more specifically in its own video, but I feel like it's good to just riff on it with you guys a little bit as well. I think, look, I don't know if reptilians are real or not. There's certainly a lot of people who suggest that they might be. And it sounds crazy, but, you know, so did Pizzagate 10 years ago, right? My idea is that if there is reptilians, I think maybe what Epstein is not necessarily that, but there's like a difference between people who are like sacrificing, eating the flesh of human beings. I'm not laughing because it's funny. Obviously, I'm laughing because it's crazy. Drinking blood, child sacrifice, all this kind of shit. This is obviously like invoking the energy of like a dark force. It's, to me, it's almost like inviting possession in, like willingly inviting in dark forces into your body to like inviting things in to be the host of something extremely dark that might manifest as like demonic. And maybe that's what Juliette Bryant saw. I don't know. Or maybe they just straight up are reptilians. I don't know. But I feel like there's maybe a difference there. But they could be sort of two branches from the same tree or something like that. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm working with at the moment. And I do want to go on it deeper. And we might through this as well. But let's listen to Bill Tompkins talk about it. So you guys might have seen me post this clip, or when Jordan posted it. We've covered this whole interview on the channel, by the way. It's a fantastic interview. But this is Bill Tompkins. If you don't know who he was a World War II naval intelligence officer. Like, literally, he served in the war. This is one of his last interviews when he's in his 90s, about nearly 10 years ago now, I would say. And this is what it's crazy what he's saying, but you know, with where we're at now, it's starting to feel less and less crazy.
But you do know that reptilians and Draco, you know, the blood sacrifices, the whole Luciferian thing, the kids being killed and eaten. I mean, that humans have been eaten and taken off planet, et cetera, and used for slaves in other colonies, etc.
I hate to say that, but that's far worse than what you've just said.
It's far worse.
Yes, far worse.
Far worse, yeah.
And
it's far worse than that.
That the whole blood situation is it's unbelievable, and
right.
I don't know how we say that to the public. I don't know how. But
Well,
it's way worse than that. The blood drinking, it's unbelievable. I don't know how we say that to the public. Okay. Is this why disclosure is so difficult? And also, is this why the topic of genetics is so taboo, right? Me and Jason Samosa talked about this in our podcast, and I'm definitely going to reference it when I do dive into this idea more. But like the idea of genetics with disclosure and human genetics, and some people maybe being like more genetically disposed to these like psionics or whatever it is, like, what does that mean? Have some humans been like tampered with more than others? Are some humans actually more alien than others? Or is a certain race of humans actually directly descended from this alien race that is enslaving us, right? That could be a thing. That could absolutely be a thing. And actually, I just want to say as well, you guys know that I really like the Native American lore and mythology, right? The Native Americans believe that once a human eats another human, they literally become a Wendigo, or you could just say they become non-human. Like they lose their soul. Like this is like a really firm part of their belief. And I probably should have pulled it up, to be honest, because I can't get it off the top of my head. But like I said, I'm going to deep dive this. But again, it comes back to what people have been saying for millennia, right? This is like age-old mythology that like the cannibalism, the consumption of human flesh, like you're sacrificing your humanity. And it creates a thirst. It creates a thirst that cannot be satiated for more. So, there's so many things that take us back to this. It's crazy.
Well, wait a minute, just a second. On that part of this whole subject, to me, if we get into that, and I know all about it, okay?
All right.
Far more than you know.
Sure,
all right?
I'm sure.
When we get into that, if we release it, 70–80% of everybody that listens to your program is going to say, you're smoking pot. I don't believe that, and I don't believe anything you people talk about on extraterrestrial. And it's going to kill what disclosure is trying to do. That's my opinion.
But the pedophile.
And is that why it's been such a slow drip process? And that's what you got to think of as well. Like, is this Epstein release like the next big step in disclosure? Because because these files have been sitting there for a long time. They've been sitting there for a long time. A long time, right? And now they're here. And they're devastating, right? Especially to normies. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen, but like normies have been having meltdowns on social media. Like, they can't believe this. And I mean, even as a veteran tinfoiler myself, even I'm and someone who like believed in Pizzagate, I wasn't screaming it from the rooftops, but when I read about it back then, I was kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And now that it's confirmed, it's kind of like, even I'm still like, wow, that's fucking crazy, man. Do you know what I mean? So you have to wonder, like, is this the next step? And is this why disclosure is so difficult? And this is going to be controversial. And I want to go into this more another time. Was Lou Elizondo telling the truth? Right? Like, is there something to him, to what he has said? And I'm talking specifically about when he was on Kurt Jaimungal's podcast and he was talking about the food chain. And he was saying things like, how would humanity be able to take the idea that we are not the apex predator, that we have thought we've been at the top for so long, but we're not, and that there is something higher than us. He went deep into all of that with a very like somber monologue, right? This was years ago. And obviously he's been heavily discredited, and maybe he is full of shit, or at least he has been full of shit. But I can't help but wonder, like, was he actually saying something that people didn't want him saying, and they, he was like infiltrated and to be discredited? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not saying that's the case, but I think it's worth thinking about.
That's my opinion.
The pedophilia is starting to be exposed everywhere. That much is coming out.
Oh, yeah. But the part that I don't want to talk about.
I hear you.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, I covered this on my channel. If you search Polarity Bill Tompkins, if you want to watch that full interview, be able to go check it out. It's a really good one. I would love to cover more of Bill Tompkins, actually. I think that would be good. Larissa Kellstrom gifted 5 memberships. Larissa, you absolute gem. Thank you very much. JL Lammy celebrating 7 months says, love your work, Josh. Thank you very much, JL. Appreciate you. And Stevie with $20 says, can reptilians jump from body to body? That would explain a lot, like in the movie Fallen. Great to have you back. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you, and I hope you're doing well. It's a good question, and I actually think we have a post that will probably touch on that. So we'll definitely come back to that idea. But thank you very much, bro. All right, let's jump to the next one. What do we got? Okay, if you follow me on X, you might have seen that I posted this. This is a real statue in New York. Okay, and what you can see here is an alligator coming up out of the sewer, wearing a suit, by the way, wearing a suit, just like all the high-level people in governments do in their day jobs. They wear suits, and he's snatching a childlike figure that has a money bag for its head off the street and pulling it into the sewer. This is a real picture. This is a statue on the 8th Street subway station in New York, and it was built in 2001. What a year! There's actually, and if you Google this, if you Google like 8th Avenue subway sculptures, you should be able to see this. And there's a couple more, not with alligators coming out of the sewer, but like interesting ones. Like I think there's another one. There's another angle of this one where another figure that's a bit bigger, that looks like the human with the money bag head, is literally just standing there watching, like with its arms folded. And it's really interesting because it looks bigger than this. Like it's almost like the human adults are just watching it happen. At least that's what it looks like to me. I don't know how else to interpret it. There's also another one here in the same section that is two of the human figures with the money bag heads, and they're like sweeping up coins off the ground, which I don't know. I mean, how do you interpret this stuff? I don't know. But to me, it's kind of just like, you know, the normal people are out here like sweeping the floor to scrounge together some coins to live. And meanwhile, we've got lizard people snatching kids and eating them off the street. The people who are wearing suits. I don't know. Maybe I'm cooked, but that's at least where we're at right now. That's how it's coming off to me. From Roots to Radicals, you little freak. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. All right, so that was that one. We'll keep going. I should remember to check some of the comments here because some of them are good. But here we go. Actually, Stevie, this is the post that I was thinking of. This is from a book, and I'm sure you guys have probably seen this illustration before, but we'll read through it. This is illustrations by Clive Burrows from the Isle of Wight, which I believe is where David Icke is from. And this is what he says people see when humans shapeshift into reptiles. This is particularly common among world leaders in politics, banking, business, the military, and so on. More Clive Burrows' portrayals of reptiles overshadowing a human while not actually occupying the body. Burrows produced these illustrations from descriptions by one of the countless people I've met who see the reptiles of the lower fourth dimension. They appear to attach to humans by two of the lower chakras. So this must be from a David Icke book based on the way I would assume it's David Icke, given the Isle of Wight and reptilians and speaking in first person like that. But I thought this was interesting. Right? I mean, especially these top two, like they're just extremely creepy, right? And I mean, I just like imagine being confronted with that. Like that's fucking crazy. But what I found interesting here was this specifically. So you've got this like large overshadowing figure that it says here is like, you know, it's occupying the human, but not physically through its body, which is really interesting, right? Because we're now automatically in this kind of like metaphysical, spiritual space, interdimensional space, which I think obviously has a lot to do with like when we're talking about sacrifice, right? We're talking about energy, sacrifice in return for something, ritual, like this chanting. This is all for like appeasing gods and some kind of exchange between dimensions, right? So, you know, again, going back to the Juliet Bryant thing and what she saw and what other people have seen too. What did Billy Corgan see? What did Lil Tony see? Actually, we'll come back to it. But what did Britney Spears see?
I went with this one guy and he looked like a lizard.
And I just want to say this laugh track is got to be so placed over the top, right? It seems fake because no one would laugh this weirdly to what she's saying, and she's not laughing at all, right? At all. I'll turn this down a little bit. Let's watch it.
Like I was so scared. He was sitting beside me. I was like, oh my god! I was like, holy shit, he looks just like a lizard, and I had to go. It was really bad.
So you just left? Wow.
Like, she's not laughing literally at all. And if you think about this without the laugh track, it's like she's telling something that she's like actually distressed about.
He looked like a lizard. Like, I was so scared. Like, he was sitting beside me, I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit, he looks just like a lizard. And I had to go.
So that's like one of many people who in Hollywood are seeing people's shapeshift into lizards, and not just Hollywood, other places too. But what I found interesting here is it says that this sort of interdimensional reptile creature can possess the human non-physically, but through the lower, the attached to humans by two of the lower chakras. Okay, and you can see here there are like two little entry points. So this is the, oh God, the sacral chakra and the, I don't think this is what it's called, but it's like the sternum chakra. Okay. And I looked this up before. The sacral chakra is obviously got a lot to do with like your sexual energy. And I wish I pulled it up now to look at, but I don't have it. But it's got a lot to do with your sexual energy. And the one above it, your sternum chakra, has a lot to do with like your self-discipline and your decision making. Solar plexus, yes, thank you. What did I call it? Sternum. Kind of the same thing. Yeah, same thing. Solar plexus. So it's got to do with like discipline, decision making, and the other one's got to do with like sexuality and sexual energy, which is really interesting because I feel like these kind of things have a lot to do with like people going off track and going down these like really fucked up roads of things that we would, you know, if we just put a word on it, that we would call evil, right? And I feel it almost feels like in some ways, well, obviously there's a sexual element to what they're doing with these like rituals and abuse and pedophilia. Like there's a strong sexual element to it, but it also feels like in the sort of, I don't know, downfall of Western society's morality, the use of sex has almost been used to subvert the discipline of the solar plexus chakra, right? Like those two parts of our soul are kind of like completely twisted and corrupted by like with each other. It's kind of like you can feel that those two things together have been completely messed up in a lot of people. But what's interesting is the chakra above that is your heart chakra, which is obviously responsible for love and a lot more positive things. And what do we hear with like all of this stuff is that like love will conquer all. But most people are, I guess, blocked at these lower chakras, stuck in those kind of energies. And I'm not saying all those people are fucking possessed by a lizard. Maybe, maybe, but it is interesting. And, you know, it may not even be on an individual level that like these people are individually possessed by a lizard, but like this kind of like blanket, I can't think of a non-gaming term. This blanket debuff that is applied to humanity seems to have a lot of people stuck like in those energies, like where it's like the pursuit of sex is like the default setting of like what humanity is. Like I have to chase sex, and that kind of messes with people's discipline. Like this is like, you know, that is what's championed through Hollywood, right? Like it's completely sexualized. And I think it does keep people like stuck in those lower energies. But once you can kind of like get over that, you realize that there's a lot more to life, and you kind of break away out of this sort of like weird low vibrational mindset. Anyway, the reptile brain, yeah. It could be more than that. Needs a nerf. It does need a nerf. We need to nerf the lizards. I think they're getting a nerf, actually. I think that's what's happening right now. This is the nerf. We're getting a patch update. It's a slow update. I wish it would hurry up, but I think the lizards are getting nerfed. Sailor Boy Troy says, gators in the sewers. It's a mirror of the Egyptian underground crocs, like in the labyrinth of Hawara. The symbolism is in our faces, money bags. All of religion today is serpent worship. If you know, you know. Thank you, Troy. I actually watched a really good documentary on Kabbalah. It was called Kabbalah, the Religion of the Serpent. And it was really eye-opening. If you don't know what Kabbalah is, it is basically like Jewish mysticism. It's kind of like the roots of a lot of occult belief systems. And it is woven through Freemasonry. It's woven through Christianity, Judaism. But it's really interesting, right? Like, obviously, a lot of people lately have been like, why are you only talking about like Judaism, and why are you only talking about the Jews? And I, you know, I mean, I would kind of push back on it a little bit, because I do talk about, like, you know, Christian pedophiles and Catholic pedophiles, and you know, I believe it is everywhere. And that's what this documentary talks about, that like Kabbalah, this weird sort of dark subversion of God, is sort of woven through a lot of things. And it is really interesting. But to answer the question of like, why do we mainly talking about Judaism, is because we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, who is a Jew from Israel, right? And we're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who is a Mossad agent, whose dad is like the most famous Mossad agent from Israel. So like, I think people are maybe, I don't know, playing a bit of a victim card here on like, why are you just talking about Jews? It's because that's what's happening right now. And there's emails coming out of them referring to everyone else as Goyim. And it's, you know, that in itself is creating like, that is just division, right? And that's why we're talking about it. S. Jack, thank you very much for the sticker. Didn't leave a message, but I appreciate you too, bro. Thank you. And Troy says, all chakra petals added up, add to the 1,000, oh my God, 144,000 rapture of the mind, perhaps the meaning of enlightened. Thank you, bro. Sorry about the absolutely butchering your number there. I appreciate you. All right, let's get on to the next one. Wow. Hold on a second. School of SA, $100, says truth is rewarded. You are too kind, School of SA. That is a massive super chat. Thank you very, very much. Old Soul Joe, thank you as well. Let's get some love in the chat for School of SA. That is unreal. My thank yous aren't enough. Let's spam some love. Here we go with Lauren Bobbitt. You might remember her. So going back to the genetics thing, you might remember this is the lady who, in not the last UAP hearing, the one before that, she is the one who asked the completely rogue question, right? You might remember where that was a pretty dry UAP hearing. It felt like a bit of a nothing burger. And then this lady just came out with like, so we've heard whispers about people doing genetic DNA manipulation. Like, have you heard anything about that? And obviously everyone was just kind of like, no, I need to go on a skiff. But that's what she said. And this is what she had to say today.
There are code words that suggest Jeffrey Epstein and his associates could maybe even be engaging in some sort of consumption. Is that human consumption? Are there code words? There's a lot of talk of beef jerky. There's a restaurant called The Cannibal where the owner is listed in some of these documents. Now, that isn't a restaurant that is just proclaiming to serve human meat by any means. But some of this just, it seems that there's a lot of conspiracies that make you wonder. And I saw more emails about torture, and these coded conversations still have a very clear topic that torture was big. It was a big driver for them. And these were sick people doing very, very sick things.
There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about it when it comes to sick people doing sick things. But I actually looked into, the thing is, I don't know if it's real or not, but I did look into this cannibal restaurant. And there's like a website proclaiming that like human meat isn't actually bad. All of this crazy shit, right? Like, I don't blame normies for absolutely melting down right now. This shit is hard to swallow even for people like us. But I'm sure you guys have heard about the jerky stuff, which is such a shame because I love beef jerky, okay? The non-reptile kind, normal human kind. So it is disappointing to have one of my favorite snacks tainted with such filth. But again, the Native Americans and many other cultures believe that the consumption of human flesh turns you into something that is less than human, removal of the soul, and a eternal, unsatiated thirst for more. Like, these people become zombies. And this is, do you guys remember this? Okay, boxer Ryan Garcia it wasn't that long ago when he was like going viral on social media, having meltdowns, talking about this kind of shit. This is a 4-minute audio clip of him talking about it. Okay. Talking about Bohemian Grove.
Bro, I don't give a fuck, bro. They held me down and they made me watch little kids get raped. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Where?
Bro, they fucking took me to the fucking woods, bro, and they fucking tied. I'm not fucking joking, bro. I have fucking proof, bro. I don't give a fuck. Bro, I fucking will show you every fucking video you could ever fucking believe. Bohemian Grove is real. They fucking tied me down and they made me fucking watch, dog. I absolutely don't give a fuck anymore. Yes, I fucking lost it. They're raping little kids.
And like, isn't it interesting how you've got so many people in Hollywood that pop off like this, right? Like, how many people have said, like, angrily, they start, like Ryan is now, they start saying it because they're angry, because I guess they've seen it firsthand and they're shocked and they're angry and they're just like gobsmacked at what they now realize is their reality, and the rage that would consume you. I think the rage that has consumed a lot of us, right? I think it's I'm not a violent person, but I would love to like destroy these people. And I think that is a normal human reaction. And it's now interesting to think back and to all the people who have had these, oh, so-and-so's gone crazy, Kanye's gone crazy again, whoop. Like, I think we need to realize that Mel Gibson's gone crazy again. These people are all of them have been telling the truth. All of them. And the media has like manipulated us into just thinking like, oh, they've all gone crazy. Funnily enough, they're all saying the same thing, but they've just gone crazy.
He doesn't want to take us off.
Yeah, he's the prophet of our generation.
He doesn't want to take us off.
Very base.
Bro, fuck this dude, dude.
Who?
Bro,
You do know
you know the higher elites, bro. You already know who they are, bro.
No, you know what?
You know the path
Andrew,
you're going down is dangerous, my friend.
I
That's what
don't
I'm
give
worried
a
about.
fuck. I don't give a fuck. They can't touch me. I'm a god.
Well, that's the first point of contention, because I care about you a lot, and I can assure you from my own personal experience that they can touch you, which is the
Bro,
worst part
no,
about
they
it.
can't, bro. All right, so come touch me, you fucking bitch.
You have proof of these things. You have proof of this on your phone?
Yes, of course
you can
I
hear
do.
how pissed he is. Yeah, he's
The
angry.
fuck you talking about? Of course, if Alex could get a fucking video from the Bohemian Grove, of course I could.
Well, I have to be careful what I say because I'm in the middle of a judicial process right now.
You want me to get you out of it? I can help
Well,
you.
bro, my door gets kicked in if I say what I'm thinking.
Okay, well, I can help you get out of it if you want. I know people.
Oh. Tell everyone at home then. Start from the beginning. When did this happen? Where did this happen? What exactly did you see? Why have you tweeted the things you've tweeted? Let people at home understand you a little bit.
Because I don't give a fuck, bro. They raped me, right? I was 2 years old. They raped me.
Wow.
I have proof of that too.
Who is he talking to? He's talking to Andrew Tate. This is from an X Space in 2024.
That's where it all started, bro. Okay?
You do know there's going to be certain people who believe, and I'm Ryan, you know I like you. We've been speaking for years. You know there's going to be people who believe you're just saying this because you've, I don't know, had a mental breakdown or taken drugs and you're repeating some of the things you said on the internet. And
Guess
so
what?
they're going to not believe you unless you come
Give
at
me
it
the
very
drug test then,
coherently.
Andrew. Andrew, I'll go to fucking Romania and take a drug test in front of your face.
Bro, you don't want to come here. You don't need Romanian jail. It's bad for your fight camp. But I'm just asking, like, you're gonna have to tell a far more coherent story from start to finish for people to truly understand that what you're saying happened is what you saw, and that this is not some sort of episode or anything else. This is my advice to you as a brother. I'm trying to make it, if you want people to believe you, you're gonna have to come along and explain from the absolute beginning exactly how it happened, who was involved, how you got there, what car you were in, where you were standing, everything.
It's true. What Andrew Tate is saying is true. Not because we don't believe him, but like people with any like outrageous claims, like people do want the fine details. And I think that's fair to say. And this was, I remember I remember this happening at the time. This was in the lead up to Ryan Garcia having a big fight. And a lot of people were accusing him of hyping up. Like this was his way of like getting eyes on the fight and selling the fight. And it actually did make me watch the fight because I was kind of like, is he just saying this to hype up the fight? Like what's going on? I can't remember if he won or not, but it was weird watching this happen in real time and then watching him just kind of go out there and box like a normal person. But, you know, I guess that proves that like a lot of normal people have to go to work and do their thing. And then they go home and sit with the fact that there are people out there sacrificing children and drinking blood. And that is reality.
Of course they're gonna want that, and I have all the information possible.
Okay, so when you're releasing it, how you releasing it, or are you keeping it for yourself? Because it looks like you don't want to keep it for yourself.
I don't. At the right time, I'm gonna release all of it. But at the right time, I'm gonna do it. They're already calling me to tell me to stop. I don't give a fuck, dude. I've already had a meeting with them. I'm gonna let you sit with that, Andrew.
All right, bro. Well, I want you to know that either way, I'm praying for you, and I hope that.
Thank you, bro.
You know, no, and I mean
I don't
that,
give
absolutely.
a fuck, bro. And Alex Jones has been saying the same shit, and they try to can't. The only reason they can't stop me because they listen to the devil. I listen to God. God gave me authority. It's over for everybody, bro.
D Ventus says in 2024, Ryan Garcia fought WBC super lightweight champion Devin Haney on April 20th in Brooklyn, winning by a majority decision, though it was later ruled a no contest due to a failed doping test. Despite knocking down Haney 3 times, Garcia missed weight, leading to the overturned result and a subsequent 1-year suspension. So was it a no contest due to missing weight or a doping test? I do remember that. I do remember something like that. Sailor Boy Troy says, Josh, I have all the publications from the University of Metaphysics and Lost Keys of Enoch. How can I get this to you? In Discord would probably be the best way. The University of Metaphysics, is that a real place? The Lost Keys of Enoch is a book, though, I believe. I've been told about that book. If you do have a copy of that, would love to see it. Also, Soul Joe, thank you very much. Draco celebrating 3 months says biltong is far, far superior to jerky. Come now, Josh. What is the difference between biltong and jerky? I thought biltong was just like the South Africans' jerky. I don't know. Let me know. Limit Breaker says, when you connect the information together, it's crazy. That's why your interview with Armin hit me so hard, connected some big dots for me. That was one of the best vids I've ever watched. Great job. Thank you. Thank you, Limit Breaker. I appreciate that. And yeah, I again, and I did try to say this to Armin in the interview. And I think, you know, respectfully, he probably doesn't want to indulge in my conspiracies too much, which I totally appreciate. It's probably a good thing for me. But what I was saying in that interview, and this is prior to all of this stuff coming out, but what I was saying in that interview when he's talking about like the consumption of bodily fluids in these rituals and all this crazy shit, like I was saying to him, like, dude, what you're saying, it seems like it's still going on in the world today, but there's been this like total inversion of religion. And they make it sound like all of these things are like bad and they're sins and that you need to be good little goyim or you're going to go to hell. Meanwhile, the elite are doing all of those things. Meanwhile, the elite are connecting with some wild interdimensional divine or the opposite of divine intelligence and ruling over us with this knowledge. And at the end of that interview, Armin said that is the Antichrist. The Antichrist is the antidote, and the antidote is knowledge. And for us to rid ourselves of this fucked up, inverted system that we live in, we need knowledge. And that is the Antichrist. And I would like to think that is what's happening right now. People are getting a very slow drip of the antidote, and we are getting the knowledge. And that is going to be the only way out. And, you know, I do think, I've said this before. I've said I think it's going to be rough for a little while when people deal with what's going on, when we accept it, but we will come out of it. We will move forward. And I really, really do believe that good always does prevail and beat evil. It just always does. And I don't know what the next couple of years are going to look like. It might not be pretty, but whatever happens, You know, I don't think we're going anywhere, and I think good will prevail. I really do. As I said, palate cleanser. Okay, a little palate cleanser for everyone. We've got Graham Hancock here talking about society of elites a secret society of elites don't just know the truth about an ancient flood that wiped out civilization, they survived it. So we're going to watch this short clip here with Randall Carlson, which is interesting because I've talked about this as well, right? Because for me, especially Derinkuyu, right? Derinkuyu in Turkey, you've got this like labyrinth of chambers that ironically look like they're built for ants, but for human ants, you know, like ant people. But like the architecture of it is like literally the same as an ant hive. An ant hive hill? Yeah, an ant hive. That's what they're called. So that's interesting, right? And it's like they're there, and mainstream archaeology would be like, it seems like they were built like by an ancient civilization to survive a cataclysm. That's what they say, but like they don't say what if they did survive the cataclysm? Like that question never gets put forward after that, which is like the obvious one.
I think actually that some of the mysteries in our past that remain to be exposed do concern secret societies and do concern a behind the scenes organization that is somehow involved in making civilizations. I won't go too far into that, but there are so many traditions, for example, from ancient Sumer, which speak of this, which speak of the role of these particular advisors who seem to be part of a esoteric or secretive group, which is there to guide and advise societies over very, very long periods of time. And you know, the academic disbelief that such ideas could be retained for thousands of years is, in my view, nonsense. Passed on within a highly structured oral tradition, the ideas can survive potentially forever.
Potentially, yes. And it brings us to something, a question that I've intrigued me for a long time, which is that given catastrophes, you know, one of the details of myths over and over again is that there was some group, some individuals that had foreknowledge.
Yeah.
Now, where did that foreknowledge come? I mean, we can kick it upstairs and say it was some kind of divine revelation, but that doesn't really explain anything.
Lost ancient science.
Right. Somebody had foreknowledge. They were able to prepare, again, referring to like the Masonic craft. There's a legend of Enoch knowing that the flood was going to come. And so he took steps to preserve the ancient science and stories by.
And of course, it's the same story with Atrahasis in Mesopotamia.
Yes.
You know, warned by the god Ea or Enki of the coming of the flood, takes steps, makes preparations, and even buries tablets with knowledge upon them in the city of Sippar.
Yes, and
to be recovered later by mankind after the disaster.
Well, and then like Plato says right there in Timaeus, he says, well, those who survive are going to typically be, who essentially survive by the luck of the draw, are going to be wholly preoccupied with continuing to survive in the aftermath, in the desolation of, in the aftermath of a flood or a catastrophe, whereas those who took steps to prepare are going to be the ones who are preserving the knowledge to pass it on. And that to me does not sound so exotic or esoteric or ridiculous that, I mean, even today we have prepper movements, people who are
sure.
You know,
it sounds perfectly reasonable. You know, when it comes down to something that threatens the existence of the entire human race, we are an innovative and inventive species, and we would find a way around it. We'd find a way to keep the seed of knowledge going, to keep it coming through the catastrophe to the times that followed. And that's what I think we're living in. We're living in the times that followed, and that's what the ancient Sumerians also believed, that we're living in the post-Diluvian era. And this is ultimately the same story that Plato is telling us in the Atlantis tradition as well.
This is why they're pushing so hard for global warming, because if an ice age hits, the lizards won't survive. That's an interesting theory. That's a very interesting theory. Someone says Lacertophiles. First live chat. welcome. Thank you, JD. They live underground. They'll survive. You know what? I was thinking about this. And guys, I even said this not that long ago, that I said David Icke has been right about literally everything. The only thing left is like lizard people. And, you know, we're not quite there yet, but it's certainly pointing that way, because what do we have? We have all of this shit coming out talking about a group of elites that run our world that are drinking blood. It's so crazy to say still. Drinking blood, eating the flesh of humans and children, okay? And then you have this other group of people saying, hey, I've seen elite people in society, like your prime ministers and presidents and other powerful people, like shapeshift. Like I've seen it happen. And then we're kind of realizing that those two groups of people are actually kind of like commingling with each other. Like you're finding out that like, oh, the royal family, who this group of people have said they've seen shapeshift and do weird shit, are actually connected to Epstein Island and pedophile activity. And Jimmy Savile, who was like the most prolific child procurer in the United Kingdom and pedophile, is also connected to the royal family. And you've got people saying that they've seen them all shapeshift. And it's like, well, that kind of sounds like a reptilian. So is David Icke right? It's like, is this the slow drip disclosure? They live more and more each day. It seems like They Live is absolutely a documentary. It already did, and somehow it feels even more so. Sailor Boy Troy says, added some publications to Discord chat section. Let me know. Let me know if it worked, and I'll send more. I can't check right now, but you're probably better off dropping it in like the Grand Library or one of our other channels that it's a bit more relevant to, because it will just get buried in chat. Darkness celebrating 9 months. Thank you very much for the support, my friend. He says, look into Neptune statues everywhere on the island. Hippocampi, sea monster, hippocampus brain, the gateway of perception. There you go. Thank you very much for the 9 months, brother. Appreciate you. All right. Clip from Red Panda here. This is interesting, actually. This is a clip from 2020 election, and it's a lady. I don't know who she is, unfortunately. Maybe some of the Americans do, but she's pressing Trump to like denounce or disavow QAnon. And it's just, in retrospect, it's really interesting to watch this clip. Not so much for Trump, but the person asking the questions.
Let me ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true, and that disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard, but I know nothing about it.
They believe it is a satanic cult run by the deep
study
state.
The subject. I'll tell you what I do know about. I know about Antifa, and I know about the radical left, and I know how violent they are and how vicious they are, and I know how they're burning down cities run by Democrats, not run by Republicans.
Wait. So people are saying Savannah Guthrie's mum kidnapping is a psyop. So wait, this lady asking the questions, is this related to, the Guthrie family released a statement on the disappearance, sorry if you guys can't see, of Nancy Guthrie. So is this, oh wait, that's her there. That's her there. Okay, wait, I'm out of the loop on this. So this lady questioning Trump right now, her mum is missing. Are these people related to Virginia Guthrie at all? Is there like a relation? I'm kind of assuming there is, because it's not a very common last name, or is it something completely different? Let's finish watching this.
Real leaders call conspiracy theories conspiracy theories.
He may be
Why
right.
not just say it's
Can I be
crazy and
honest?
not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask.
Okay, so they're actually, they're completely unrelated. Okay, interesting. But this lady speaking, her mum has been kidnapped. Has something happened as to why she's being kidnapped? Does anyone know what it's in relation to?
All about it. Let's waste a whole show. You start off with white supremacy, I denounce it. You start off with something else. Let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more in this vein.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia. And I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it.
But there's not
very
a
strongly.
satanic pedophile
I have
cult
no
being run
idea.
by.
I know
You
nothing
don't
about
know that? Okay.
No, I don't know
you
that.
Just
and
this
neither
week.
do you know that.
Okay, just this week
why,
you
why
retweeted.
aren't you asking me about Antifa? Why aren't you asking me about the radical left?
Because you're
why aren't
volunteering
you asking Joe Biden questions about why doesn't he condemn Antifa? Why does he say it doesn't exist?
Because you're here before
Antifa,
me.
no, excuse that's so cute. Antifa exists. They're vicious, they're violent, they kill people, and they're burning down our cities. And they happen to be radical left.
Okay, they're getting into gay politics now. All right, so from what I can see, some people are saying that they think this is just like a psyop and a distraction from the Epstein files. So this lady here, Savannah Guthrie, who's interviewing or questioning Trump, whatever, her mother has been kidnapped, and it's Savannah that has been giving victims, I'm assuming Epstein victims, a platform to speak. That's what I'm gathering from the chat here. Let's watch this video, or at least a little bit of it. So this is her now. This is what, 5 days ago, and she's making some kind of plea.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
I'm listening. Give me 1 sec.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day. Despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief, we are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She is 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive.
I'm putting up a poll.
She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive. And
We got a vibe check up for this plea. I'm not feeling it. Something feels off to me. It sounds like they're reading a script.
that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us.
I'm going to pause it there because I did actually see something about this that now that I understand more, it makes a little bit more sense. Where can I find it? Where can I find it? Let me hang on. Hold up. If we go Savannah, maybe you guys know what I'm going to pull up. But basically, there's something in this speech that they're giving that is exactly that. Yes, here it is. Here it is. Look, this could be nothing. This could be like a coincidence, but I'll pull it up anyway. See what you guys think. So here we go. There's a section of this speech. Oh, where is it gone? People have noticed a striking, nearly identical similarity between Savannah Guthrie's recent video plea to her mother Nancy's captors and a scene from the 1991 film The Silence of the Lambs. Here we go.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
I mean, it's not a huge one. It's not a huge one, but overall, I think this is a little bit sus. And let's see what the polls say. The polls say 55% of you think something feels off, 23% of you think it's completely fake, and 22% of you think it's real. Yeah, something feels off. I would agree. I don't know what it is, but you know, the vibes, man. The vibes, man. They don't. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. I don't know what it is, but something ain't right. Taylor Boy Troy says added 4 back-to-back in the Grand Library for you all. My man, thank you very much. That's definitely the best place to put them. And April Eve says PSYOP to put regulations on Bitcoin in the future, 100%. Okay. All right, a little bit of crypto law sneaking into the show. I'm here for it. All right, what do we got here? Okay, this one's fun. Okay, this one. Jeffrey Epstein, while the world is burning down, Jeffrey Epstein has been playing Fortnite in Israel. Okay, so in the original Epstein drop, there were emails between him and Blizzard, him signing up for a World of Warcraft account, and also Fortnite or Epic Games, which is the, you know, like the parent company of the game Fortnite. And in that, it listed his username, which was Little Saint Jeff, right? Little Saint Jeff 1. His island is called Little St. James. Okay, so it adds up, right? And it's got the little Israel flag there. So that's his name. Now, once this came out in his emails, there you go. I think you can see here. This is him buying $25.95 of V-Bucks to play a bit of Fortnite, which is just hilarious. After this came out, people realized on Epic Games, where you can see people, you can look up their name and see their activity, that he had been online in recent seasons. So you can see here, he has like an activity score for season 10, which is well after he's meant to be dead. Now, after this came out, obviously this went viral. Like I think that last post had like 10 million impressions, and that's just on one post. This was going viral everywhere. Then Fortnite commented on it saying, actually, where is the official? Oh man, I don't have it. Damn, we've only got the screenshot here. But basically, Fortnite came out and did a post saying, "Hey, official Fortnite here. This was a ruse by a Fortnite player a few days ago. An existing Fortnite account owner changed their username from something totally unrelated to Little Saint Jeff 1 following the revelation of Little Saint Jeff 1 as a name on YouTube." And then it kind of just went on to talk about, you know, it's not related to the Epstein files. And then Grok just came in and said, this explanation does not hold true when reviewing the Fortnite.gg 25 Wrapped, showing the username tied to the games played in 2025. The user ID was consistent in 2025. See the alleged Epstein name, same name listed in the Wrapped, and then it linked where it was listed throughout the year. And then it says, see player with a recent name change, previous name in Wrapped, and it gave another link. Okay, so this is Grok basically calling out the official Fortnite account, saying like, no, that doesn't make sense. Actually, it's completely, it doesn't work that way, and it doesn't hold up based on the evidence that's provided earlier with your Wrapped. You know, like Spotify does a Wrapped, Epic Games and Fortnite do their own kind of thing. So this came out, which was like, oh my God, Fortnite are getting called out by AI, which, you know, generally, I don't want to say it doesn't lie, because I do think sometimes it's wrong, but it doesn't lie intentionally. It just deals with what it knows. Okay, if it's got data, it will just tell you what it can interpret. And then, and this doesn't happen very often, and then the community note got deleted. That does not happen very often. The community note got deleted. There you go. This explanation, that was the original community note, and then you see it here. This note has been deleted. Now, I think if you dig somewhere, Elon Musk has openly said, like, we do not delete notes. Like we don't. I don't know what it was in context for, but I swear to God, maybe you guys in the chat can help me out here. I swear I've seen Elon speaking about how like they don't tamper with community notes. Community notes happen when enough people kind of submit that it deserves one, and that they don't censor anything like that. Well, there you go. It's been deleted. Now, I guess the only grounds that they could delete that on is saying that like Grok got it wrong, but it's like, really? Did Grok really get it wrong? Or is the whole world burning down and meanwhile Jeffrey Epstein is playing fucking Rocket League? And here he is. Here he is, apparently. This is a photo that also surfaced this week. Now, of course, everyone's screeching that it is AI. And you know what? Hey, who put that there? You know what? Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But the things that they are talking about, to me, you know, I don't know if they hold up. The first big one was the fact that this sign was like, you know, gobbledygook, just it's not real Hebrew. So this was the first thing that I looked at, right? I put this into ChatGPT and I said, is this actually Hebrew? If so, what does it say? And it came back and said, yes, it's Hebrew. Yes, it's a real street, and it's a street in Tel Aviv. So there you go. That was debunked for me straight away. This is the other thing. That like this looks unnatural on the leg. I don't know what looks unnatural about that. It to me, it's just a foot behind the leg. I don't know. That's kind of reaching to me. And then also the fact that there is a little brand logo over the bottom right corner, which suggests that it's AI. Now, to me, that's just as retarded as like the MH370 videos, because like anybody can take any picture and get a logo and just put it over the top, right? Like that's extremely easy to do. I would also say that this is a if this is AI, this is a high quality AI. Like it's, and when I say high quality, I mean like it's extremely realistic in it's just everything, you know, it's extremely candid. You know what I mean? Like when you go to make a photo with AI, like it's very you know, like it creates like a cinematic portrait that's like a generated image that like the image is generated with the idea that like this is the focus of the image. This is what you're looking at. Whereas like this is extremely candid. It's kind of just like people crossing the street. No one's looking at the camera. There's like a bit of motion blur happening, which you hang on, hold up. Let me like, you know, you can see here, there's like a bit of motion blur happening on this leg. There's motion blur happening on the hands, on these legs as well. And these guys are wearing earpieces too, which is really interesting. These, or like they're acting like some kind of security for him. I don't know. But you know, to be adding in motion blur and, you know, street signs that are in English and Hebrew that aren't having any issues with the spelling or meaning, like, I don't know. There are a lot of things like it's, and you know, that to me is like laughable. Like anyone who's trying to fake an image or debunk it can just put that over it, right? And this is the thing with debunkers. People are as quickly willing to accept anything as debunked as they're accusing the people of believing what they're claiming to be fake, right? Like it's because it fits what they believe. And I think that's the issue, is as soon as someone sees that little sticker, they're like, oh, it's AI, because it must be AI, because that's what I believe, because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But they're not willing to critically think about the fact that, like, no, bro, if this is a real picture, there are going to be a lot of people out there with a lot of money behind them, potentially enough money and influence to get a community note deleted, that could easily just take the picture, add the AI branded stamp on the bottom, and debunk it. And now all of the good little cattle are going to just be like, see, it's AI. It's AI. I can't do my own thinking. Do you know what I mean? It's retarded. Now, again, I'm not saying this proves that it's real, but I'm saying like that's a retarded way to debunk it. Like it's just stupid. It doesn't really hold up in my opinion. But hey, that's just me. But look, let's actually talk about what we can see, I guess. I don't have a good side-by-side comparison, unfortunately, but, you know, just looking at this, like it definitely could be. Definitely could be. So you've got this, and you've got the active Epic Games account playing Fortnite and Rocket League as well, interestingly. I don't know, man. I don't know. But what I do know is that after looking at all these emails and the people that he is connected to, and that's not to mention the person who posted on 4chan that we looked at in the last stream, the prison guard who posted on 4chan about seeing a weird car that didn't sign into the prison that rocked up and took Jeffrey away the night before. And apparently this person got like 4chan and like AT&T and like all of these companies were like contacted to try and locate who this man was posting on 4chan saying this stuff. I feel like if you can do all of that, you can probably fake your own death and get away with it because you've got the connections. I think Epstein didn't Fortnite himself. Oh man, I never get notifications for Josh. You know, I think a lot of people have been saying that lately. I don't know. Yeah, we'll do a poll on that for sure. Like I say, I don't know. I don't ever like to say I think I'm being shadow banned or I think I'm being suppressed. But I will say, ever since I covered the Bondi shooting and then we did that stream on Pax Judaica, channel numbers have been in the bin. Channel's been in the dirt. Don't know if that's connected. Could be the time of year. People are on holiday. I get that. But, you know, also kind of a coincidence. Okay. Did Epstein Fortnite himself? And I guess while we're on that, guys, if you do like to watch the live streams, and you don't want to miss them, make sure you do have the bell turned on and everything you can. Or join the Discord because I always ping people when I go live. So you will get a notification there. All right. Did Epstein Fortnite himself? Yes or no? While you guys are figuring that out, we'll jump on to the next one. This is an interesting one. This is going back to the whole like DNA thing, the genetics side of things. And this is an email from a lady called Masha Drokova. And she was interviewed by Sean Ryan, and he wasn't going to release the interview because he felt like something was sus about her, right? And this is like a couple months ago. So he's been sitting on this whole taped podcast with this lady, but he felt like she was really sus. And now she's been named in the Epstein files saying this to Jeffrey Epstein. So now he's like, I'm going to fucking release it because it's like kind of, he feels like now it's obvious that she was like a plant. But this is what it says. And this is her to Jeffrey. I found criteria to find smart people. The more Jew you are, the smarter you are. You said you're 98% Jew. You're very smart. My ex-boss is 78% Jew. He is super smart, less smart than you are. I have a close friend, business partner who is 99.3% Jew. Very specific. He's crazily smart. We take all Jewish people. Sourcing can be done through relatives. Ask them to do a 23andMe test. Do an event for everyone who is 98% Jew and above. All of them are not religious. Also, all of them are not religious. Do you think it makes sense, right? I do. I mean, like, I don't think, I mean, they definitely do kind of talk about it in like with like a weird superiority complex, but I'm not opposed to the idea that like Jewish people are like just perhaps genetically like smarter than the rest of the world. And the reason I say that is because it does seem like Jewish elitists do run the world. Okay. And again, that's not anti-Semitic. That's just kind of like looking at the facts. And it does seem that is kind of what's going on, which would make sense, right? Because if they are smarter, like you would kind of have to be smarter than most people to do that. And it's not just Jewish people, by the way, but like, you know, when you look into it, that kind of does seem to be the case. And I think Jeffrey Epstein is a good example of that. So, you know, this whole genetic thing and being smarter, it makes sense because you would have to be smarter. No, they just think they are. I don't know. I mean, they are at the top. It does track. You can't deny that it does track. I mean, I don't think you can sort of do what Epstein's doing for as long as he was doing it and be like a retard, right? You've got to have some kind of intelligence about you. And I feel like people don't like hearing that because it kind of seems like I'm glazing a sick piece of shit when I'm not really. I'm just kind of talking about it with the emotion removed from it. Like objectively, he obviously was intelligent, right? I think that's just the fact. Doesn't mean he's not an absolute piece of shit though. Okay, you can be both. You can be an intelligent piece of shit, and I think that was the case here. Circumcision equals smarter? No, I don't think so. But maybe. 6% Ashkenaz here, only smart when it counts, I guess. You're only 6%, bro. You're nothing. You would never get invited to the Epstein party, unfortunately. They've got a 98% cutoff. You're way off, brother. You're basically Goyim. Unlucky, bro. You're one of us. Okay, here we go. Speaking of this, this is Max Spears, okay? Another person who spoke out about very interesting things, who mysteriously wound up dead. And just touching on genetics and DNA, one of the things that he did say was that a specific line of Jews are reptilian. That's not me saying it. That's just one of the things that Max Spears said before he wound up dead. But this is a little clip from him.
If you want to take over a planet, okay, if you want to completely take over a planet, the first thing that you have to do is you have to take out the alpha males or the strong males from the planet. Because the strong alpha males protect the divine feminine. Through television and films, how they are feminizing men more and more and more. You'll see men dressed up in female clothes. The cane is a phallus or male energy. The two circles on either side are to control the male energy. This is not to empower the female in any way. This is a trick to make it look like that it's empowering the female, when in fact it is taking away the protection from the female. The feminism movement that happened in the 60s was to destroy the family unit from the inside out. If you want to,
I miss Max. Me too. I really enjoy listening to Max, and I think unfortunately when we've watched Max in the past, like a lot of people struggle with him because of the way that he speaks. And I understand that, but I think that's a very like surface level judging a book by its cover interpretation, because I think a lot of the things he actually says are quite profound. And like many people, as time goes on, what sounded absolutely batshit crazy 10 years ago when he was saying it, it's starting to make a lot of sense now. And what's interesting when he talks about the feminization of men, like objectively that is happening. But what's interesting is when you look at Jewish mysticism and Kabbalists, people who are into the Kabbalah and who sort of like idolize this idea of Baphomet, like that is an androgynous figure. And they believe that, and again, this isn't Jewish people, this is like Kabbalists, this is like Jewish mysticism, which is woven through Christianity too, by the way. Like we call it Jewish mysticism, but that's its roots. But it is like, it's in Freemasonry, it's in Christianity, like it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. But they, like the Baphomet is an androgynous figure. That's what the Baphomet is. It's part male, part female. And they believe that like bringing the human race back towards this sort of androgynous, less feminine, less masculine, somewhere in the middle ground is actually repairing the human race. And once they do that, it will kind of like repair their standing with the, like it's part of this plan, right? Alleged New World Order plan is to repair the human race by making it androgynous. That is the Kabbalistic belief. And a lot of people, like in the video that I did where I talked about, where we sort of like really looked at like the Chabad Lubavitch Jewish movement and the control structures, a lot of people, and like fair enough, were saying that you should use different language than the Jews. And I get that, but the thing is, it's like, what do we call these people? you know, we could call them vampires, which they are, obviously. But it's like, I feel like using the word vampire almost makes it like a bit fairy tale like, and like it almost takes away from the reality of the situation, which I don't want to do. Zionist says Desti. I've thought about that too, but I don't know if that. I feel like that's a thing and that's a problem too. But that's I don't know if that encompasses like this whole like very satanic, ritualistic, dark, like occult magic side of things that is clearly going on according to what we're seeing in the Epstein files. Then I've thought about like Khazarians, but I feel like that almost predates it too far. Now you're going too far back and it kind of detaches away from like the reality that we live in today. Dementors, that is a good one, but again, I feel like that makes it a bit fantastical. You want something that's grounded in reality, and the best thing that I can think of is calling them Kabbalists, because I do think that this is rooted in Kabbalah. I think that's what this is. This is rooted in Kabbalah, and there's some stuff that I want to cover on the channel soon that kind of goes into that a little bit deeper, but even Kabbalists, like the Cabal, the fall of the Cabal, it sounds very like conspiratorial. But I can't think of a better word. This is all probably by design, right? It's probably by design that people find it tricky to really put a finger on like what it is. And ultimately, it is probably many things. It's probably many things. But let's watch this anyway. So this is a lady, this little TikTok video of a lady talking about the imagery shown in the Justin Bieber film clip, Where Are You Now? Check this out.
Video, Where Are You Now? I'm going to slow it down to show you frame for frame. Now, it's created by a lot of Justin Bieber's fans, a lot of artwork from fans, but I'd argue that some of them were created by Justin Bieber to strategically slip them in there to send a message. So this one is really disturbing. It's Justin Bieber with pizza wings, a pizza above his head, far up.
Damn, these people and their pizza, right? And P. Diddy, like what happened with the whole P. Diddy Justin Bieber thing? Like kind of just disappeared, right? Space Jews, that is hilarious, but probably not too accurate. Maybe kind of. Vampires. Armin says we are language limited as part of our framework. Yes, and that's what I've said. Language is, I think, our intentional limiter by design.
Far upper right corner, you see a face smelling him, and his eyes are appearing kind of like bloodshot and crying with some devil horns. And if you don't know, in the Epstein files, pizza is used to reference children. Kill the poor, love the devil back, $5 to look at it. This one says false god. Here's another devil one with his mouth silenced. This one says put drugs in your butt, and it has like a little sinister face on the side, and he has a necklace with ice cream on it, a little tag. Ice cream literally means male. Yeah. Here's one that looks like he's giving some. Here's him with his head blown. If you're reading this, then it's already too late.
That's crazy.
Here.
That is in when you, because if you watch this film clip, guys, maybe if you guys want to go watch it after this, I'm not going to play it, obviously. These frames are moving so quickly. Like they're literally like not one frame a second. Like 30, there's probably like 20 of these in a second. Like they're crazy fast. And this is one of them. This is one of them in the Justin Bieber film clip. And you would never see this unless you actually slowed it right down and analyzed it. You would just never see it because they're moving that quickly.
Him with his head blown. If you're reading this, then it's already too late.
Like, this shit's crazy.
Here's another one with the Illuminati symbol. It says, we made it. Hollywood with cavities and death. This one is with the devil saying the greatest trick I've ever did. Bush did 9/11. Here's one, two-way street, safety or fame, with a bunch of dead people, his eyes bleeding, his face being completely silenced. Illuminati once again. Jesus saves. Help, Ronald McDonald is killing our kids. Upside down crosses, more Illuminati. Stop worshiping me.
Crazy, right? Subliminal messaging. What the actual F? Yeah, I know, right? He needs to sack his videographer. No, this is intentional. I think this is Justin putting messages out there. Like trying to subliminal. I could be wrong. What do you guys think? I think this is Justin trying to subliminally show people how fucked up that world is. And again, like we've already said in this stream, he's one of many. Like, it's just crazy to really think now how many people from this industry and like Hollywood, include like acting and musicians, they all say this. They all say it, which is, it's just crazy. All right. This is bringing it to Australia now. Another nugget news. I'm actually going to be going on this guy's channel soon, which should be fun. But this is, about Australia. But just quickly, Trenticles. That is a fantastic name, you little freak. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for becoming a member. Taylor Boy Troy says, Metatron, Enoch 3, the weird one, but it's Kabbalah. To understand Enoch, you must understand Genesis 6. Okay, thank you very much, bro. Charlie Stewart with 5 months says, just managed to catch a bit of this as getting ready for work. Loving the weirdness. Keep up the great work, Josh. Love it. Charlie, my bro, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you and for the 5 months. And Troy says, pepperoni is 100% people at this point. Changed my mind. Oh, bro, look, I wasn't going to say this, but since you said it, I heard something. I really hope this is a conspiracy theory, but I heard something. And look, this is probably just a conspiracy theory, but just given everything we've heard lately, I was just like, oh my God, please know that like the meat in McDonald's is actually human flesh. Now, I'd like to think there's way too many McDonald's in the world to actually do that. But at this point, I'm like, okay, it wouldn't surprise me, especially considering what I said earlier about the fact that, eating human flesh, it changes you. It makes you something less than human. Now, I don't want to believe that because I do like to enjoy a Big Mac every now and then. Beth says I've heard that too. Oh, God. Oh, God, it's real. No, look, I hope not. But at this point, wouldn't shock me. All right, here we go. This is bringing it back to Australia now. Alex Saunders with Nugget News. What do we got?
High-ranking Australian police officer arrested as part of an international satanic pedophile network. Here we go again. Sergeant David Turner was 2022 Rotary Officer of the Year, and I'll get to why that Rotary connection is important in just a sec. But police seized a number of electronic devices and drugs from his home. The charges include accessing and distributing not only kiddie material, but bestiality too. But the most disturbing part, these videos included infants, and the police described them as particularly devastating, using symbols and rituals in the abuse material. You guys have got no idea how sick these people are and what really happens behind closed doors. So that Rotary connection, Rotary, founded by the Freemasons, there's a lot of overlap in their membership, and there's always these connections to youth clubs, charities, churches, somewhere where they can procure these children for the network. So he was also active in radio, think personalities like Alan Jones over the years. And as I've been saying on YouTube and the podcast for a couple of years now, guys, it's these high-ranking police, politicians, judges, media personalities and businessmen that are part of these secret societies behind closed doors, and the highest of them within these ranks are part of this international satanic pedophile network, and they use blackmail to control and run the world. Epstein, Diddy, this sort of stuff is just the tip of the iceberg. So I've been covering this in all the episodes. I've got some big guests coming up and whistleblowers. Make sure you're following Nuggets News, and we'll continue to cover all this as it finally comes to light.
There you go. Australia is not excluded in this madness. In fact, I think it's just as implicated as the rest of the world, unfortunately. Benjamin says, "Wake up, Josh." Sorry, bro. I thought I was awake, but enlighten me, please. I used to like real pizza, not so much anymore. Yeah, this is the thing. They're ruining pizza, they're ruining beef jerky, and it's not good because I'm a fan of both. Scott Wee says, "Is McDonald's kosher?" I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. Silver Soul says he interviewed that Aussie lady, forget her name, South Australia, very bad. Yeah, her name's Rachel Vaughan, and I am probably going to be having her on the channel pretty soon as well, which should be very interesting. Probably a dark one, but interesting. I forgot to end the poll as well. So it turns out that 72% of you believe that Epstein did not Fortnite himself. There you go. I would probably agree with you. I'd probably agree with you. So yeah, I mean, this is just crazy, really, that this is so high up, high-ranking police. It's scary. It is. And look, I think we've got some Tim Dillon next to lighten the mood. When I say it's scary, I don't think we should be fearful though, or but it's scary is not the right word. It's shocking. It's just consistently shocking. But I think the fact that this is happening, that we are seeing this and talking about this, and I feel like as a group, as a nation, we are going through like a dark night of the soul. I feel like a lot of us have probably already been there, done that, and we're kind of okay now. But I feel like as a collective, normies included, are probably going through this like grieving, mourning, like realization process, right? But that is the step before the leap, right? It has to happen. It's kind of like, it's just like a rite of passage, unfortunately. All right, here we go. Tim Dillon, hopefully going to lighten the mood for us.
Jeffrey Epstein and many in the ruling class are Luciferians. They believe, whether it's aesthetic or not, they believe all of these things to be true. They don't believe there's any moral code outside what they can get away with. They believe that they are deities and gods and that they should be able to upload their consciousness and potentially live forever, and that you are biological waste that they should be able to fuck and throw in an ocean for sharks. This is true. It's absolutely true. Now, they might not say it. They might not go, I'm a Luciferian. Now, some of them will. But they're obsessed with Moloch, who's the god of child sacrifice. They're obsessed with Baal and all these things. They're obsessed with demonology. They're obsessed with this idea of becoming their own god. They're obsessed with child sacrifice. They're obsessed with engineering humanity through things like eugenics. Hitler was an occultist. A lot of people around him were occultists. A lot of people in Los Angeles are occultists at much higher levels of the business, that you hear about. You go back to the 60s. They made a lot of great music, whatever. But there was a fair amount of occultism then. More cults come out of, Northern California. More retards come out of Southern California. I always mix that up. More cults come out of Northern California. A lot of those occultists were involved in the United States military. Michael Aquino. This is all very obvious. We were on this shit years ago on this show. It's all out in the open right now.
Michael Aquino. So you got occultists in the north of California and retards in the south. Perfect. It's all mapped out for us. Now, what I find interesting is that Hitler was so interested and keenly pursuing like this idea of like genetics and like a supremacy when it came to like DNA. But evidently so is Epstein. Like these people who appear to us as being like opposite ends of this like spectrum of like theology or like their belief system, yet they're both kind of pursuing the same goal or a variation of it, which is weird that these elites, these really powerful people are obsessed with what your genetics are, and like making more of them, culling people who are not close to having those kind of genetics. Like these are all the same kind of themes you hear from Hitler, but also out of Epstein as well. And, touching on this idea that perhaps people with like high Jewish DNA are like more intelligent than us. Maybe they're connected to something that is non-human because of that. I don't know. That's just a wild tinfoil hat theory. But it is interesting that DNA testing it's not illegal in Israel, but you can't just go and do it like you can here. Like you can just get a DNA test here. In Israel, it can only be done at an accredited government lab, and you have to like apply to get it done. And it's very, very controlled. It's not like that in most places, which, why? Weird. Sailor Boy Troy says, honestly, eating crickets doesn't seem so bad now. I have eaten crickets, actually. I ate crickets in Mexico, and honestly, they were good. They had a bowl of salted crickets at the bar, and I was just having a beer, and I thought, you know what? I normally would have salted peanuts, but since we are in the South, we'll eat crickets, and they were good. I would eat again. Scott Wee says, make Israel great again. Meager. All right. Thank you. Let's go to the next one. John McAfee again. This one's interesting. Okay, so if anyone who does, we watched him earlier. If anyone doesn't know who he is the creator of McAfee antivirus software. Okay, so computer nerd. Here we go.
When I went on the run in Belize, I had friends in the U.S. Embassy in Belize. I knew what was coming down. I'm not stupid. I had arranged with the head of security. I was going to come in. He said, "Sir, we have it from the highest authority. We are not to allow you entry into the U.S. Embassy." Understand me. Who was the highest authority of the State Department? Hillary Clinton. I'm an American citizen with a American passport. I'm sorry. I'm not wanted in America. I've got no crimes in America. Is it not a reason to say, I don't think I'm going to vote for you?
And yet you're here now.
For a month and a half, I was on the run. The reason that the government wanted to collect me was that after they had raided my property in 2012 in the jungle, shot my dog, abused me, destroyed $500,000 worth of my property over a bogus charge, I was pissed off. And so I donated to many secretaries within the government laptop computers, really nice ones that were preloaded with viral spyware. Within a week, the entire government computer system was under my control. I was watching, monitoring, listening. I was looking for information that they had set me up for that raid. I didn't find that. I did find out that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug trafficker in all of Central America. And the Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker.
We don't want to get killed by them either, so we're probably not going to.
That's fine. That's fine.
This guy is literally the Joker. Okay, they like attacked him, killed his dog, completely invaded his privacy, probably seized his assets, and he went, okay, here, guys, look, I'm sorry, look, I'm gonna donate to you guys. We can get on better terms. Have a bunch of laptops. I'm a computer nerd. I know what I'm doing. These are good laptops, loaded with spyware. This guy had the balls to spy on the entire government. And like he said, he was trying to find shit to prove that what they did to him was like illegal or whatever. But what he actually found is that the government is the largest human trafficking and drug trafficking network in the United States. And they killed him. Now, apologies, I did miss a chat earlier. RV Hilo with 3 months says, the pick is a psyop. Jeffrey Epstein is alive in Israel, but they made this AI to throw people off. So if anyone talks about it, this debunked image comes up. Look at creases. Yeah, I agree with you. And thank you very much for the 3 months. I appreciate the support. Look, I again, like anything, I don't know for certain. But to me, the debunks are silly. Like, yeah, they're just silly. Especially that logo is ridiculous because even just basic level AI like ChatGPT, you don't get a logo. You don't get logos. You get logos when you're using like a free version of something that you have like test credits for or something like that. And that, like I said, that was a very like high level AI picture in my opinion. So I don't think that's going to be putting watermark stamps on the bottom. That's just my opinion though. I could be a tinfoil hat idiot. That's very possible, but that's what I think. All right, palette cleanser again. You guys might have seen this. This is a kick streamer called W Vagabond, and he's the very first person to stream in Antarctica. Okay, this is live stream footage of Antarctica. Now, no one's ever done this before. But what's interesting is once he started streaming, he got intercepted and was told to turn it off, and like you're not allowed to have anything connected to the internet in Antarctica. Check this out.
The IRL in Antarctica, boys. IRL in Antarctica.
Hello. How's it going? Not that good. So you have a Starlink? Yeah. Okay, it's confiscated. You will receive it on the way back.
You can't use it on the land?
Say again?
You can't use it on the land?
No.
Okay. They checked it in biosecurity yesterday and they didn't have a problem with it going on, but you're the captain, so it's all yours.
Okay.
Right, Krista? Right?
In the end of the trip, okay?
Okay, cool.
We'll get to that.
Devices, they're not anything that is related to the internet connection, cybersecurity is completely forbidden.
Really? So no one's allowed to have a star on it?
Nope, not even a single piece of paper.
Really?
Not even a single piece of paper. That's weird. It's just a big chunk of land with ice, isn't it?
On land?
That is not secure. No.
Is that for like all of it? I'm just asking questions. I'm not arguing with you. For all of Antarctica?
Yeah.
Okay.
For all, it's available for all ships. It's not only this ship, all the ships around, and especially this one. We have cybersecurity. We have policies to follow. Unfortunately, we cannot let you.
Right, bring it on land.
Yeah.
And that's for every ship in Antarctica?
Yeah, for everybody.
Okay.
But our procedures, they are very strict, and such devices, they are not allowed, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. That's fine. Thank you for informing us. I apologize if there was any issue. I just didn't I didn't see any problem with it like online when I was researching and stuff, but you're the captain.
Okay.
Thank you
so much.
Sorry for taking you away from your station.
No problem.
I apologize.
Thank you for understanding.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you. What Kelvin, sir, are you in?
Kind of crazy, right? Every ship, no one is allowed an internet connection, which is very strange. Now, I'm actually going to be interviewing Eric Hecker very soon, so I might have to ask him about this and see what he says. He was there a while ago. Maybe things have changed. I don't know, but this is very crazy. Like, why could you not? You can't have an internet connection there to do with cybersecurity. And obviously, the first thing I noticed is if you saw a picture of this, where would you say he is? I bet your first, second, probably third guess. I mean, the coats might give it away, but I would say 99% of people's first, second, and third guess would not be Antarctica. Where's the ice? Do you know what I'm saying? Now, I know the whole thing isn't coated in ice. I know that, but it just proves that Antarctica, the reality of Antarctica is very different to how it's portrayed. Which again, why? Why? What is in Antarctica? Well, given that apparently reptilian vampires are real that are running society, I would say about 2027 should be right on time when we learn that this is the entrance to Agartha. Okay? This is the entrance to the inner Earth. It's where the Nazi moon lizards live. And there's going to be... this is where World War III is going to be fought, okay? Between the space Jews and the Nazi Antarctica Agarthan lizards. This is where it's going to take place, okay? This is 2027, people. Get ready. Get ready. Sailor Boy Troy says, tinfoil hats in the merch store. Weirdo tins, please. Yes, I really do need to get some new merch in the merch store. It's been a while. But remember, Polarity Love, you will get 20% off right now until Valentine's Day. You can spoil your little freak in your life. All right. Here we go. Back to Hollywood. More people in Hollywood that have been saying this stuff for a long, long time. Jim Carrey, people. Here we go.
Children is not what great nations do.
Sorry,
It is the mark of a villain. Kidnapping children is not what great nations do.
Is that a gang sign? Have you...
Oh, like you don't know what it is.
I always wonder if on these shows, these laugh tracks are fake, like all of them. I just don't think people are laughing like this in this moment. It just doesn't seem real. This isn't something you laugh like that at unless you are just the most fluoride full NPC dumbass. No one's laughing like this in this moment, in my opinion.
And I'm sick of it. I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the
that's not funny. It's definitely not that funny.
track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. You know, and they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things and, you know what they're trying to...
And I think it's really interesting as well because you guys, if you watch this and you listen to what he's saying and you watch the way he's speaking it, if you think about what you're seeing and hearing without the laughter, it feels very different. It feels far more serious because there is no comedic tone in his face, in his body language, in his voice at all. He is not being comedic at all. He's just saying it. But you realize that when they put this laugh track over the top, it actually does make you think that he's just joking, or that he's just being silly, or that he's just playing around. But like, if you remove that laugh track, there's nothing that Jim Carrey is doing right now that is giving that feeling off at all. It's completely the artificial laugh track that makes you feel that way. Yes, exactly the same as the Britney clip that we looked at.
They get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things. And, you know what they're trying to do? Who? This thing is buzzing. Hold on. They're trying to.
He's definitely being comedic. Oh, there you go. Wanderlust solved it. Sorry. I'm wrong. He's definitely being comedic.
Turn us into, consumer drones of some sort. It is the mark of a villain.
There you go. They're turning us into consumer drones. Who would have known? Who would have guessed it? Ali Swires, celebrating 6 months, says Epstein paid to go so they can't all just commit suicide. Him, Jean Paul, the Victoria's Secret CEO, Weinstein, they're all paid to disappear into private luxury. I mean, that would make sense, right? If you are this powerful, I think being able to disappear and become faceless and unknown is not a hard thing to do with the kind of power and reach that these people have. And I've always kind of thought that I reckon people in Hollywood maybe have like a switch that they like, especially the people who are connected to this stuff. I feel like if they want to, they can fake their own death and disappear. I don't know. Maybe not, but also maybe. I feel like maybe like they can just get out of that life. Surely there'd be people offering that. Troy says, vet friends and I have spent time in the Arctic. We have the North covered. If you have any questions, can confirm Polaris never moves and the Dipper spins. Interesting. Okay. All right. Jim Morrison. I'm glad Jim Carrey is still here. Oh, there's lots of them. There is lots of them. Like Charlie Kirk. I don't know. I don't know if that one's fake. He's not being comedic at all, or the laugh track would not be needed. Yeah, there you go. That's true. All right, here we go. Another podcaster, Andy Frisella. I'd never seen this guy before this clip, but I thought this clip was interesting.
The men of this country have to realize that we are legitimately being ruled over by psychopathic pedophiles who are willing to lie, cheat, rape, kill, steal, fucking everything from us for their own benefit. That has to be rejected at mass. Because if it's not, civilization will crumble. Nothing will matter. If we can't stand up together as men against these horrific crimes against children and women, then who the fuck are we? And what are we? We are a bunch of weak. We're just as complicit as them if we don't. So all of this shit, this left-right shit, this fucking black-white shit, this gay-straight shit, this I love Trump or I hate Trump shit, doesn't fucking matter. Here's what matters. Are you a good human that stands against this shit, or are you not? And most of the men in this country, I believe, are. And they need to wake the fuck up. They need to start working together, and we need to put massive fucking political pressure on these people to do the right thing. And if they don't, then we have to be prepared to do whatever is required to make that happen. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not the only motherfucker out here that is unwilling to live in a country where our leaders are involved in this kind of shit.
We need to put this whole minute 22 on a t-shirt. Fantastic, from Andy Frisella. Sorry, I had to check his name again. Which is bad because it was actually a fantastic little monologue there. And I think we all completely agree with him. And you know, and it's ironic that this is at the timing that like the Super Bowl just happened, and like, you know, people are like posting about the Super Bowl, and like, I don't want to completely shit on it because I do think sport, like, it has its merit and it can be fun and entertaining. And I don't think sport is like inherently a problem, but it's like the obsession with it, especially in times like this. Like it is completely fucked up that like we can be in the times that we're in and people are really still like super concerned about the Super Bowl and shit like that. It's like, look, that's all well and good, but there are like issues right now that concern you, your family, your kids, and the world that they're going to grow up living in. And, you know, I feel like I sort of need to be careful about I feel like I can't really say how I feel about this because I don't want to get in trouble. But like, there has never been a time like now where men need to actually like stand up and be men. And I think like that people will do that in different ways, right? Because everyone is different. There are some men out there who are more intellectual than they are than they are like physically capable. But those people will still have a role to play. Like hackers, this isn't just about violence, is what I'm trying to say. This isn't just about people standing up and revolting and creating carnage, which I think could happen. Like this, it might need to happen. And I'm not saying I want that to happen, but it may be necessary. But what I'm trying to say is there are people out there who are super intelligent, guys who know how to like hack your shit remotely online. You are just important, if not more important, in like the world that we're going into, because we are gonna need all of our bases covered here. And it's not just about being like some kind of burly, muscly fucking dude with 17 guns, right? I mean, we definitely need them too. We need guys like that too, but we also need the nerdy geeks who know how to hack the shit out of the system, right? They're going to be equally as important. So I think this is just a fantastic message, and it is a message of unity, and that no one likes the idea of war and violence, but in the times that we're in, ignoring it and being weak is only going to make the situation worse. So I think people need to take a look at themselves and think about like, what kind of future do you want to live in, and what kind of future do you want your kids to live in? And I think that's the most important question. So this story has also been circulating. Now, we've only got a few more to go. The show is going to be ending soonish. This was really interesting because the whole Michael Jackson thing I've always been really fascinated about. And I don't know if you guys remember like that documentary that came out maybe, I don't know, within the last 10 years. And it was called Neverland. And it actually had an Australian kid in it who was like testifying that Michael did do all of those terrible things to him. And it was really compelling when I watched it at the time. And I reckon I rewatched it maybe a couple of years ago. And I was kind of thinking, I don't know, actually, I'm not 100% sure about this. It kind of seems weird. Why didn't you come out earlier, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this is basically saying that Neverland and what Michael Jackson was doing was about saving the kids and bringing them in and using Neverland as a retreat to keep them off of the island, because he knew that these kids were getting taken there and what was going on, and that this was his way of protecting them. And that's what Neverland was actually for. And they basically flipped the script on him and started accusing him of doing the things that they were doing. And this was also part of, because he did have like Jewish handlers around him, and he wrote a song about Palestine. And there's that leaked voice recording of him calling like his bosses at Sony leeches, like referring to them as Jews and calling them leeches. There was a whole bunch of things. And ultimately, like many others, he decided to kill himself. Or did he? But anyway, I'm not saying did he, like P. Diddy. I'm saying did he? Let's listen to this clip.
I'll never forget that. Michael Jackson saved me from getting on a plane to that tiny island.
So they're saying Neverland is where Michael Jackson took children to protect them from what was being done on Epstein's island. And because he was going against their regime, they punished him and they flipped the script and made it appear as if he was the one abusing them, when in reality they were abusing them, and he was protecting the children, he was protecting the celebrities. And you have celebrities like Macaulay Culkin who've gone on record to protect and defend Michael Jackson.
Which is just so crazy, right? Like, what a roller coaster. I feel like through all my life, I feel like Michael Jackson kind of died when I was like, I think in my teens or something. I don't know. But like throughout my whole life, I feel like I remember this kind of like swaying pendulum of like, is he, isn't he? Is he, isn't he? And he's been dead for a while. And I think, it kind of felt like, seems like he might have been, obviously was like quite eccentric on the outside. And then after all of this time and for all of this to come out, for now the pendulum to kind of swing back the other way, it's just kind of like, oh my God. Like this is like it is a emotional roller coaster. right? And that is, again, probably by design as well, that it is. I think a lot of this is meant to, test people's threshold of what they can take and how they process it.
This all makes sense. It has finally come together. This man has been dead for so long, but now it's coming together. Not only did he protect the children from the physical things that were being done to them, and you know what I'm saying, you just social media, gotta be careful, but he also were protecting them from the social and emotional abuses that were occurring by advising Britney Spears to get out from under her dad before the conservatorship and things of that nature. This man was a lifesaver. Nonetheless, those of you who are like me, help me fact check this, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure this is right, but this is what I've been hearing up to this point, and it all makes sense.
Wild, huh? Wild. And, Macaulay Culkin's always an interesting one because he was obviously super close with Michael Jackson, and obviously, seems like he also went through some shit like many child stars do. They seem to come out of Hollywood with like severe addictions and they don't look great. But even through that, he always stuck by Michael Jackson and said he never, ever did that. But he also was never willing to speak up about anything either, which kind of tracks with this story, that he was still like vehemently defending Michael, but was scared like many other people because they end up dead, like Michael, who speak out about it. Like it kind of tracks. It does kind of track. From Roots to Radicals says, Josh, did you see the man sailing across the North Caps? They're trying to stop him. I felt either a flat earther or searching for aliens. No, I didn't. But sounds interesting. Drop it in the Discord. Adam Dev Media says, you got to chat with Duncan Trussell sometimes. I would love to, man. I would love to. Duncan is extremely funny. So that would be a lot of fun. What do we have here? Okay, we'll kind of speed through some of these. Mark Zuckerberg had dinner with Epstein years after he was a convicted sex offender. Meanwhile, his platform suppressed conversations around QAnon, Pizzagate, 2020 election fraud, Hunter Biden laptop, COVID lab leak, vaccine side effects. Do you understand now? Now, this is interesting. Now, look, the next thing that I want to come out in all of this shit that seems to be being revealed is this. We need more on this because that story is fucking wild, man. That is a wild story that the sitting president's son was out there smoking crack, using like presidential credit cards to order hookers, and basically just living in his own fucking reality, doing whatever he wanted. Like, that is crazy and is not spoken about enough, in my opinion. But I will also say that after all of this information suppression happened, we did actually cover this on the channel. Mark Zuckerberg did that like open letter on behalf of Meta, talking about how he admitted to participating in suppression around COVID and vaccine side effects, and that he would no longer sort of stand for suppression of information, and that he was also pressured into spreading that the election was Russian interference or something like that. That's some kind of election interference information. He felt pressured into it by the Biden administration or something like that. It was in his letter. We covered it in the early days of this channel. And since then, I would say, like, I mean, I don't know what your Instagram reel feed looks like, but mine certainly isn't being suppressed. I'll tell you that much. Meta ain't suppressing shit anymore. That's for sure. That's for sure. J.O. Lammy says you got to check the Hucky remix of MJ's They Don't Care About Us. It's a banger. Okay, all right. I would like to listen to that. Thank you for the $5, man. And Achy Balls has come in and dropped $100 on us. My man. He says, the hero's journey is often synonymous with the awakening masculine. Be aware of the game known as whack-a-mole. Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. Dropping bombs on us as always. And it resonates, man. I think you're bang on. Thank you very much for the huge super chat. Let's get some love for Achy. Let's get some love hearts. And we'll pump through these last couple. Okay, here's a funny one. Roseanne Barr, always known as just like the crazy old lady, the batshit old cat lady who's just lost the plot. Don't listen to her. She's gone crazy. Stupid old Roseanne. What was she saying?
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit.
Right. There we go. That's
true.
Why.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man.
I honestly think, like, to look, obviously you could just be completely crazy to be able to say something like that. But I actually think the percentage of people who are actually batshit crazy is actually far smaller than we're led to believe, obviously. But also the percentage of people who are in a position like Roseanne, right, to have the career that she's had, to be up on a stage with Tucker Carlson speaking to this many people. Like, generally, if you are batshit crazy, the people surrounding you and in your circle are going to be able to get like enough of a read on you to be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have her on, right? I think to get where she is, to be on a stage and to be able to say what she's saying with the conviction like that she's saying it with, you have to be rooted in truth. Because to say something so crazy like that, I think even if you were the slightest bit unsure, you would probably be a little bit more reserved. Like, you know, even if you were thinking it, if you didn't know, you'd probably hold back from saying it publicly. But to me, like, this is a lady who knows. And I feel like you have to be rooted in just a sense of knowing and truth to be able to say it the way that she's saying it here, because she doesn't give a fuck, and she doesn't give a fuck because she knows.
You spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults, and they've covered it all up.
Wasn't she fired from her new show? Yeah, probably, because she says stuff like this, because the people who are producing and in charge of her show are probably complicit with it, because welcome to Hollywood, baby.
Cover it all up, and you know, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that he opens everybody's eyes in this country. By the time we go in to vote for Trump, that he will open up everybody's eyes and they will stop pretending to be asleep. You know?
Yeah, well, and isn't that an interesting turn in things? You know, Trump really sort of, well, campaigned on releasing the Epstein files, right? And then suddenly there was this like weird 180 of like, are we still talking about the Epstein files? And then there's the idea that, you know, he's implicated in them as well, which he's calling a hoax. I mean, who knows? With Trump, I mean, I ultimately think like politics are just two wings of the same bird, right? But the whole thing with Trump's campaign was that, like, you know, he was an outsider. He couldn't be bought because he's already independently rich. So there was like this hope that like maybe he isn't. And obviously a lot of that was backed by this whole QAnon thing, right? Which, you know, if you'd have talked about QAnon leading up to his election, you would be a batshit conspiracy theorist who believes in Pizzagate, right? Because QAnon had a lot to do with the whole Pizzagate thing. But now that the whole Pizzagate thing is coming out as real, it does kind of like revive a small thread of hope that like QAnon, the whole QAnon thing is actually real. And to just kind of like glaze over what that is very, very, very quickly, it is that like Trump is kind of playing, I'm going to use the Harry Potter analogy because I actually think it describes it so well, that Trump is actually playing like a Snape role in this. And that if you are actually going to overthrow this system that is ran by like the Chabad Jews and, you know, the Vatican and other things, like if you're going to come in and try to overthrow this somehow and be the good guy, you've got to still play the role. Like you've got to go be the good boy. You've got to go kiss the wall. Like you have to do these things if you're actually going to be like the inside agent. That is essentially what QAnon is about, is that he's playing the role for the greater good and to like trust the process. Now, you could say that was just a psyop to get conspiracy nerds on board with Trump. Maybe. But QAnon did talk a lot about Pizzagate at the time, like a lot. So it does give me a thread of hope that maybe that this is a long-term plan. I don't know. We can only hope, right? We can only hope. Let's get to these last couple of things here. What is this one? How did this was interesting actually. So this is in the Epstein files. there is like a press release dated on the 9th of August about Jeffrey Epstein's death, but he officially died on the 10th. What is that about? I don't know. Josh, you should read through the Q drops. I would honestly love to deep dive QAnon. The thing is, it's so hard to find like a comprehensive timeline and overview of all the Q stuff. It's almost like it doesn't really exist on the internet anymore. If anyone wants like to get an overview of it, I would suggest the Fall of the Cabal documentary, which you can watch for free on X. They go over it. She absolutely like glazes the hell out of Trump towards the end, though. So that might upset people who are unable to kind of detach emotion from information. But other than that, it's very hard to find. This is really interesting for anyone who hasn't seen this and kind of crazy, right? I won't spoil it. Let's just watch it. 2.5 minutes.
For years, Wayfair was selling furniture with the same name as missing girls. For example, in 2019, a 17-year-old girl from Ohio named Samaya went missing. Then, a few days later, Wayfair listed a Samaya 5 shelf storage cabinet for almost $13,000. In 2020, a 16-year-old girl from Connecticut named Yuritsa went missing. And a few days later, the Yuritsa storage cabinet went up for sale on Wayfair for just under $14,000. May 2020, from Kansas City, a 14-year-old girl named Annabelle goes missing. Same storage unit, sold on Wayfair. Annabelle with the same selling for just under $11,000. January 2020, Kyla Coleman, 16 years old from Cleveland, goes missing. You can already guess, Wayfair, same name, this one discounted for $12,000. Everyone always called this a conspiracy.
So, and this is what I want to touch on quickly as well. This here, Karina, let me zoom in. Karina Shuliak, okay? This chick just went viral on X. Her account's now been deleted. This Karina chick was one of Epstein's girlfriends, potentially his last girlfriend. And she was just going viral on X, basically saying like, I'm going to tell the truth. Epstein wasn't a bad guy, all this kind of stuff. And like her account was dated back to like created in 2007, had no name changes. Like this really did actually seem like the legitimate account of her. And Alex Jones was tweeting her saying like, come on the show. And she was saying, I'll only come on if it can be live and you can't redact anything that I'm going to say. I'm going to reveal everything. She was saying all of this shit. And now her X account is deleted. Okay, this is just like a day or two ago.
Conspiracy theory until now.
And yeah, so this Wayfair thing came up and this same girl, Karina Shuliak, is in the Epstein files sending $8,500 USD to Wayfair. The same company that this this website is listing missing people to buy $15,000 storage cabinets on. Crazy.
When a receipt from Wayfair was found in the Epstein files. Look, we know that Jeffrey Epstein's network has a history with missing girls. Don't forget this picture of John Benet Ramsey and Ghislaine Maxwell lurking in the background. Back to the receipt. It was purchased by Karina, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime girlfriend, on June 28th, 2018. It was for one item totaling $8,400. And I've tried, but I can't find out what the item was. What I do know is that on June 23rd, 5 days prior, a girl named Joanna went missing from Columbus, Ohio. And still, to this day, she has never been found. But back in the day when this conspiracy was spreading online, there was a high-priced Joanna cabinet circulating in the chats from the same WFX utility company. Just for context, the WFX company is still selling the same storage units on Wayfair, but they're only $139.
Yeah. The $140 cabinets aren't getting ordered to Little St. James. They're not buying the $140 cabinets. They like the $8,000, $12,000 cabinets.
Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, Karina, wasn't just making purchases on Wayfair. She's also active in the files for making purchases off of Etsy. We know that back during this time, Etsy also had some very weird postings. The reality is that
$50,000 for a bunch of little child-looking demons eating pizza. $50,000 young pizza assorted.
postings. The reality is that none of this proves anything, but it does make you think that if this type of activity was happening, who was behind selling these items to Jeffrey and his network?
Okay. I just want to see if, like I said, this lady's account has been deleted. Okay. Karina Shuliak. I want to see if I can, maybe, like, because I feel like people always create, you know, they screenshot this stuff. Let me just see if I can find anything for you guys. Because this was really interesting. Like, there was posts getting like millions of impressions every couple of hours. Like, it was like trending in the moment, and now it's gone. So these were some of the tweets that she was posting. This is like two or 3 days ago. They sacrificed children to Lucifer. It's an entire cult. Jeffrey got involved in their operation for financial reasons and to obtain compromat, but he never participated in those rituals. I'm assuming compromat is like compromising material of people, I'm assuming. She says, I'm not suicidal, just in case. You'll know the whole truth soon. After years of silence, the truth, Jeffrey was innocent, trapped by powerful people who silenced him. I was his last confidant, and I have the evidence they're still hiding. Okay, so she's kind of going along the line that, like, Jeffrey was the fall guy. Although, you know, I think it's you know, it really does seem like he was very into... Look, I don't know if he was involved in, like, the ritual side of things, but he was absolutely involved in, like, little girls. I think that's hard to deny at this point. People made, like, a crypto coin for her. I'm just trying to see if we can find more. I guess that's photos of her. Meghan Markle. You guys remember when I called Megan Medic from News Nation Meghan Markle by accident? I interviewed her the other day, by the way, like a week ago. That'll be out soon too. I don't know if I can find any other posts from her, but yeah, this was all popping off the other day. Okay. I think we'll move on. Yeah, we'll move on. We've got 2 more posts left. Okay, another interesting one. Stacey Plaskett, which is the lady that you can see on the left here, was she's come up in the Epstein files, right? And she was apparently, like, some of these are dated at a time, like time-stamped at a time when she was in a congressional hearing. Okay, so I'll just read what Red Panda has written here. Stacey Plaskett was not only on Epstein Island and texting him during a congressional hearing, she is also the woman from this viral MK Ultra video. These people are reptilians, in my opinion. Shout out to Red Panda, Lord of the Clips. Go check him out on X if you're not already. So this was a viral clip, right? So this is Stacey Plaskett on the left who's reading. And this is where this lady was behind her doing like this weird shit that no one really knows what this is. But it kind of, like, the theories are, and it kind of seems like this lady almost seems like she is puppeteering Stacey Plaskett. I mean, I don't know if that's actually what's happening, but she's doing weird, like, voodoo mouthing. It's just weird. Let's just watch.
With FBI employee Roya Demlow, who you just spoke about, which took place on July 17, 2023. In that line, she says, the question was asked, okay, if someone were to leave here today, were to leave this interview and were to suggest or imply that when you said the laptop was real, that it meant that the FBI had affirmatively determined in October 2020 that the laptop belonged to Hunter Biden, that the contents belonged to Hunter Biden, and that the contents had not been manipulated in some way, would they be representing what you said, correct? Answer by Ms. Demlow. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting.
They see, look, she just literally, so you can kind of see in this full screen shot where she's actually sitting. You can see her just there. And while she was speaking, she just jumped in and corrected what she's saying. So she's absolutely, so, like, look, that just proves she has a vested interest in what this lady is saying. And I mean, when you watch her through this clip, she's like breathing heavily. She seems agitated. She seems uncomfortable. And as Kathy O'Brien said, people who are being MK Ultra'd have extra wide eyes. Kind of looks a lot like Kash Patel and Jake Barber. I'm not saying they're MK Ultra'd, but it's probably just coincidence 7,379. Okay, let's keep going.
Would they be representing what you said, correct? Answer by Ms. Demlow. They would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. Because this committee likes to misrepresent or leave off complete sentences of what individuals said, I'd like to introduce this into the record.
Objection.
Thank you. And as to no comment by an FBI, that's usually what they say when there's an ongoing investigation, particularly when it's a couple of days before an election.
A lot of people in the chat saying it's probably just her aide who wrote the speech. I think that's definitely it, right? I mean, I think most of these people have people writing their speeches for them. I think it's just the body language and the facial expressions and the sense of what would you call this? What's the word? I can't think of the word. When you can't stop moving and you're just kind of like uncomfortable. She's irritated. She looks irritated or something like that. Anxiety, yes. I don't know why that was slipping. There's definitely something going on there. Don't know if it's reptilian. Don't know if she's being mind controlled by the Epstein ritual overlords. But there's definitely something going on there. Did QAnon come up with this theory? Not with this one specifically, Steve, but we were just touching on it with a couple of the posts that we looked at in this stream, for sure. Fidgeting. Yes, she is fidgeting. That is exactly what I was trying to think of. And this is the last clip of the show, kind of ending on like a positive. It's not a direct positive, but it's, the most positive thing that I could kind of pull today. So US Congressman warns the Epstein fallout could topple the British monarchy. Positive. That's a positive to me. Okay. We do want that. We do want that. I want that. I can't speak for you guys, but I want that. I think the monarchy is a bad thing, but that's just me. So this is Representative Ro Khanna saying that the Epstein scandal is no longer just about disgraced individuals. It threatens the entire British establishment. Hooray! Yes, exactly, Beth. Okay, here we go.
Next week.
Mr. Khanna, a British question, if I may. What do you say to the man formerly known as Prince Andrew and to Peter Mandelson with regard to giving evidence to your committee?
Well, Mandelson may bring down the whole government, from what I hear. He just engaged in terrible behavior. I mean, the allegations are very serious that he was working for Gordon Brown and then feeding information about UK possibly buying euros and having Epstein trade on that. I mean, it is a deeply, deeply troubling. And, Epstein's, I saw this interview with Epstein's former girlfriend talking about how someone is a loser if they weren't mentioned in the Epstein files. It's a window into the elite impunity, this club. And by the way, I think this is the most vulnerable the British monarchy has ever been. I mean, I heard they were asking the Queen questions about the Epstein class. They ought to ask the King and Queen questions, and maybe this will be the end of the monarchy.
Do you think it could be the end of the monarchy?
Well, if they don't have answers, or if they're implicated with an Epstein class, not a good look for the British monarchy.
Yeah, no shit. Like, no shit. Like, how has it even taken this long? Prince Andrew, photographed multiple times with Virginia Guthrie and like other weird photos in these Epstein files, has been tied to Epstein for a long, long time. And they're also so close with Jimmy Savile. Like, how has it even taken this long? What the fuck is that about? Like, they should be like, even if not all of them are implicated in this, right? Your family has been disgraced. Like, sorry, like let's say Charles and Elizabeth, now dead. Maybe you guys weren't involved with this, but your kids were, or whatever. Therefore, disgraced family, get out. Therefore, you don't deserve to be hidden behind big golden gates with guards and a big giant palace. You're involved with pedophiles, get out.
Well, the king has to answer what he knew about Andrew. And just stripping Andrew of a title is not enough. I mean, Andrew needs to come before our committee and start answering questions.
Yes, stripping someone of a title. Who cares? No one cares about that. That's not justice. That's a cop out.
I mean, look, if you have allegations of raping a young girl, I don't think the appropriate punishment is you no longer get to be a prince.
Yeah,
There's got to be more than that.
Do you think the royal family must have known something they're not telling us?
They need to answer, the king and queen, and I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand the British custom, but what's up with this? That you're going and someone's asking the queen a question, the queen is offended that she's being asking a question? I mean, come on. She wears the same clothes, she eats the same food, she's just a human being. She needs to.
Is she? Do they eat the same food as us? Are they just human beings? I don't know, Ro. I don't know.
These are the same questions anyone does.
Congressman, what do you think of the Clintons asking for their testimony to be public rather than behind closed doors?
I believe.
So there you go. There you go. Bit of a positive note there. There's people in the government that aren't, the point of this is they're not all bad. There are people in there who are like me and you and who will stand up for the common man who doesn't eat children. Okay. There are good people there. And I think in this sort of time, we need to support people like this. And also, I also maybe even just as important is podcasters. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about people with like really big platforms. And J.L. Lammy says, what's your opinion on the modern Alex Jones? Talking about podcasters with big platforms. Look, there's no doubt that Alex Jones has been on the money for a long time. He's gotten so many things right. And he's literally been saying this shit like at the craziest degree about they worship Lucifer, they sacrifice babies, they drink the blood. Like he's been saying this for ages. And obviously it's so wild, it's hard to digest. And especially when he's saying this stuff like 20 years ago in his crazy Alex Jones style, it makes him even harder to believe and digest. But the point is, he's been saying it for a long time. So there's no doubt that he's, tapped in somehow in some way and he's on the money and knows what's going on. But I will say ever since who was it? Like one of his like story writers or producers got killed. Like this is like not that long ago in like the last year. Someone very close to what's his show called? News. I can't remember. I'm blanking on his show's name. Infowars got shot, gunned down like out the front of the studio. I feel like ever since that happened, he's been like, I'm not going to say like an Israel apologist, but he's been far less critical of Israel and almost a few times being like, oh, it's not all Israel, it's not all. And it's kind of like, maybe it's not all, but like if they were out of the picture, probably would solve a lot of issues, I think. And what I'm talking about, I'm not necessarily talking about like the baby eating there. I'm talking about like political issues. Because, yeah, like I said in my last video, like AIPAC aren't operating underneath a hidden synagogue in tunnels in New York. They're a public organization. Like everyone knows about them. It's not a hidden thing. There is an organization in America that is paying off politicians to prioritize Israel's interests over Americans. And basically anyone who runs against them just gets like out-funded and removed. Like that's just what happens. And you have a country that is basically selling itself out to the interests of another country. And this isn't just America, by the way. This happens in Australia too. And it's a massive problem. We just passed like hate speech and anti-Semitism laws in Australia. And a guy got arrested for the Israeli president. So not Netanyahu, he's the prime minister. The Israeli president just visited Australia. And there was obviously all these people, ramping up. We don't want him here. We're going to protest. So then they knew these protests were going to happen, and he still came. Which to me, it's almost like that. Like that's like artificial. You're creating chaos. Like people don't want you there. Don't come. But they did, and they had the biggest police presence. Like it was like New Year's Eve or something. There were people protesting, and a guy booed the car and got arrested. Just for booing. So you're not allowed to have an anti-Israel opinion in Australia, apparently, because that's anti-Semitism, which is fucking ridiculous, okay? There's a big difference between hate speech and inciting violence and disagreeing with something or someone. But those lines continue to be blurred, and I think that's a massive problem. And I got onto that talking about Alex Jones, talking about Israel, and standing with podcasters who aren't afraid to speak up about, not just Israel, but also all this crazy shit that's going on with Epstein. One who isn't is Sean Ryan, and he is going hard as a motherfucker right now. So I think people should be supporting Sean Ryan and also just staying tapped into his podcast at the moment, because he is really talking about this stuff very unapologetically, and he is kind of just like a patriot that is like fed up and ready to kind of, he is the guys that podcast was talking about, that is ready to stand up and do whatever it takes to fight for his country. And those are the people that you should be supporting wherever you're from. Sailor Boy Troy, can you interview Paul Stobbs? Nephilim look like clowns author. Easy to get a hold of. I did one with him. You'll have a lot of questions. I mean, I could, but I wouldn't know what I'm interviewing him about. I don't know the book. It does sound interesting though. Zeitgeist, celebrating 7 months, says, what's there left to do when you're so rich that you've already done everything and you're just bored? What haven't I tried or tasted? Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem like that may even be a part of it. That it's just kind of like these people can't get their kicks from just, having a few beers and a barbecue. You have to go and eat babies now because you're just bored of everything else. That does seem like where we're at. J.L. Lammy, we did that one on Alex Jones. Thank you. Joan Bro with gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. And they're also celebrating 5 months as well. They say, wow, 5 months. This has been a wild ride. Hopefully a good one and a fun one too, because as crazy as the world is, I do try to try and shine a bit of light on it, have fun, make you guys laugh, and laugh at myself along the way too, because otherwise it is dark. But I think it has to be spoken about. Unfortunately, I think we have to talk about it. Sailor Boy Troy says, only a fall guy if you are dead and in jail. That is very true. Or you can be a fake fool guy, and that may be what has happened here. Winston says, I'm in the past watching and sending my future self a message. Happy hump day, chat. Thanks, Josh, 222. Shout out to you, Winston, whenever you receive this transmission. Thank you very much for the support. Janie says, email Ian Carroll for free journalist-only web app. Janie, I did, actually. I saw his stream. That web app looks fantastic. Like the perfect tool for like digital autists who want to go down the rabbit hole and map stuff out. I sent him a message on Instagram, didn't get one back. I don't have his email, unfortunately, but I would love to get a hold of it. If not, we'll jump on it whenever it comes out for the public, but it looks really cool. Troy says, good luck bringing them down. Loyalist guards, disgrace or not, they have their own army. Loyalists are blind patriots and dangerous. Thank you, Troy. Distant Hayes says, great show. Thank you. My pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been fun. Been way too long. Good to be back with you guys. Troy says, can we not just leave a trail cam at the Grove and wait? A lot of sleuths not thinking outside the box. This would be easy, just requires patience. That's a really good idea, honestly. I feel like there's probably a reason why it hasn't been done already, though. Maybe not, but I feel like that would have been done. Kelly Hall says, Sean Ryan is old military like me who knows the difference between wrong and right. Sean Ryan is old. You got the same message twice. And yeah, I agree with you. Old school values. And, I resonate with that. I resonate with old school, traditional, and more conservative values. That's just me, and I don't dislike you or hate you if you're different, because ultimately, of course, we're all going to be different, right? It would be weird if we all had the exact same belief, and evidently we don't. And I think that's okay. And somehow we've found ourselves in this world where, like, if you don't have the same views as me, you're the enemy. You're the worst person. I hate you, and we can never ever, we can never ever see eye to eye. And we need to remember what it was like before COVID, and remember that ultimately the Goyim United will never be defeated, right? And we need to get back to that, because I think the chaos and conflict between us is created, and it is intentional, because as long as we are fighting each other, we can never not even fight back against what's oppressing us, but even notice what's going on, right? But I think that's going to be happening. I think that is happening. That's what's happening right now, and it feels chaotic and it feels painful. Some people are probably realizing they've been hoodwinked for a long time or whatever. But I think that is the process. That's the awakening process happening before our eyes. We're ripping the Band-Aid off, and it stings a little bit, but it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good. So, guys, thank you for hanging out today. Remember, 20% off if you want to shower your little freak with some weirdo merch. That is going to be until the end of Valentine's Day. So, Polarity Love at the merch store. Follow me on Instagram as well. Polarity Josh there on all my socials. I would appreciate that. And I just appreciate your support as well. Hit the bell if you like these shows. It does kind of feel like maybe my channel is being a little bit suppressed at the moment, or maybe the algorithm just isn't into me right now. I don't know. I don't want to overstate it. But if you enjoy the shows, make sure you hit the bell, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit a like on the video. And I got a little bit on the next couple of days, but we'll hopefully be live again soon. And I will have my podcast with Meghan Medic, not to be confused with Meghan Markle. That will be coming out soon as well. So, guys, thank you again. Lovely to be back. I hope you're all doing well. Look after yourself. Make sure you're taking care of your mind. Get outside, touch some grass in these crazy times, and I'll make sure I see you guys soon. Peace.
Eventually, people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light. In our galaxy, everything, because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about